What's up, dudes? Alam niyo nang alam niyo nangyari. Nag-start ako mag-stream, kaya lang iba yung ingestion server na nilagay ko dun sa what was the last program we was it the AMD? Yeah, the AMD or the Asus ZenFone. I was seeding the video to the ZenFone stream. What up? What up? Welcome to the show. Tell me if the audio is right. You're streaming at the speed of 3.5 Mbps, which is not the fast, not the highest, but ako conscious ako sa buhok ko. Medyo bagong ligo. Pwede na ba? Oh my god, namumula yung mata ko. Hindi, okay lang. What ups? What ups? We just post that we are live. BTS is live now. .com/ talking about the new Asus ZenFone 3 Huawei E9 series and Computex news. Wow. Sweet. Let's post sa Facebook. What's up, Pajin Shu? So far, so good sa ating interwebs. What's up, Bulalo? What's that? See it? Rachel Lobancos. Ano bang meron kay Rachel Lobanco? Alam nyo guys, hindi ako mahilig sa ano. Hindi ako mahilig sa chismis eh, kaya ano eh. Kaya wala akong alam dyan. What's up, Froy Bell? Wala lang, music lang tayo ngayon. Yun lang gagawin natin. Music. Kokak! Ganap kayo ng Kokak. What's up, Alpha Shift? What the hell? Bakit ganun yung ano? What? Bakit ganun yung ano? Yung what? Okay. Oh, what? Nakikita niyo yung icons? No! No, the emoticons are broken! Lang. Ayoko niyan. Try again, try again. Hopefully. Let's hope umayos yung ano. What? Bakit ganun siya? What's up, Papa Jack? Welcome back. Gusto niyo ng ano? Gusto niyo ng mas matinding... Wala nga. Gagawin natin ng paraan yan. We're gonna implement a new chat box na mas ano, chat box 2.0. This one. Lang. Yan. Super high-res chat. How do you like that super high-res chat? Nababasa nyo ba? Hindi nyo mababasa sa phones yan and ano, yung mga maliliit na display. Okay ba sa inyo yung ganyan chat, yung masyadong maliliit yung font? We're streaming at 1080p, so kaya nyo kung nanonood kayo at 1080p. Okay, kaya lang ang hirap magbasa ngayon, ang liit ng font ko. Weird pa rin ni Kokak. Maganda ba ang CM1 pang VR? CMM1. What's up, JP? What's up, James? Welcome to the show. Welcome to the stream. Happy New Year. Welcome, Kokak. Ano, approve ba yung chat? Is that the chat is good for you? What's up, Gadget Addict? Medyo maliit chat, di ko mabasa. Alright, we'll do something about the chat, okay? I'll make it bigger. For you. Okay? Give me a second. How's that? Is it better? Webster, what's up? Quick question. Ine-check ba talaga ni Huawei yung Digicam na ipapalit mo para makakuha ng discount? Dapat daw kasi working. Yeah, that's a good question. So supposedly they're going to check the camera. Pero malay natin, di ba? Malay mo pagdating mo doon, di na nila check. Hindi natin alam. Oh yeah, recommend po na VR para sa curved phones. What do you mean recommend po na VR para sa curved phone? What? I don't get it. What do you mean recommend po na VR? Recommend na VR headset? Recommend a VR phone? What do you mean curved phones? There's only like 3, 4 curved phones, right? What do you want to do? It's 10:24. Wanna play Overwatch? Or should we just talk about the topics agad? If you don't know, the new ZenFone 3s have been announced. To be honest, I wouldn't worry about VR, man. Sobrang ano pa. How's the chat? Is the chat good enough? Baka VR headset para sa curved na telepono, meron siya. What phone do you have that is curved? Namumula yung ating stream. Come on. What phone do you have that is curved? There's not a lot of those. Not a lot of phones that are curved. Ano po username nyo sa LOL? My username on League of Legends is the Technoclast. Yo, check tayo for updates. Hilaw na hilaw na hilaw na hilaw pa ang VR. As in, sobrang hilaw pa. I like your YouTube profile, Wajinshu. Ano na siya? Ano tawag dito? What do you call that? Certified? Verified account? I like that. I check. Ano mas magandang teaser video? O+3? What's O+3? Merong ganon? Merong ganon? Wait lang. Nasa YouTube ba? Baka yung VR glass na kinakabit na lang yung phone. Yeah, sino yung nagtanong? Si Jazzy. Okay, clarify ko ano yung tanong mo. O+3. This? What? Ano to? Wala naman eh. Alright, let's go to the O+ website. O+ fan page. Bumili po kasi ako ng VR box pero nag-slide pag pinapasok ko po. Nag-slide? We're lagging. Sorry, wait lang. Wait lang, I'll be right back. We're lagging. I will restart the stream. I'll just stay right there. Alright, we're back. We are back. Let's hope the stream is Ayaw na sa atin ng stream. Bumili po kasi ako ng VR box pero nag-slide pag pinapasok ko po sa VR headset. Alam ko kung ano malamang yan. Okay. I don't have a standard ZenFone 3 to compare for you. It's a comment box. Oh yeah. Wait lang. This is the one I recommend. This is the VR Box 2. That music though. Gusto niyo lakasan yung music? I actually don't know how loud the music is for you guys. This is the VR stuffs that I use. I don't know kung pwede sa may glasses. Nope. Well, kind of. Better kung wala. Wah! Hi YouTube, I'm back at it again with the white bands. Yeah, so marami nagbebenta nito. But according kay ano pangalan ito? Kay Sir Aaron. Big Arrow Online. Yeah, Big Arrow Online. According kay Sir Aaron, this is the VR Box 2. That is mas mahirap hanapin yung original. Sabi niya may mga fake daw. I don't know how true his statements are, at least. I mean, could be na sinusubukan niya lang ibenta yung VR box niya, but at least I can swear by his statement that these VR boxes that comes from Sir Aaron sa Big Arrow Online is the real deal. These are really good VR boxes. Bumili ganyan ka group ko sa Lazada, VR Max yung dumating. Yeah, yung may mga fake kang ganun eh. Did anyone watch the do-over with Adam Sandler? No, I haven't watched it, but I do have Netflix. Pag VR lang ako pag meron ng motor boating app / game. Motor boating? Do you know what motor boating means? That's bastos. That's Duterte. That's bastos. Do you know what motor boating means? Yung CP ko walang gyro kaya nood lang ng VR. Yeah, si Gadget Addict is very, very knowledgeable when it comes to solar energy. I watch his YouTube a lot then when it comes to electronic stuff. I'm actually, I'm considering making some sort of guide for Google Cardboard VR. May meaning ng Netflix and chill. Kung hindi mo pa alam, bata ka pa. Ano ba? Ayoko pag-usapan. Well, the official blah 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 app has VR support. I kind of want to make a guide about VR kasi dami nagtatanong and there's a lot of misinformation about VR right now. Especially on the Google Cardboard side, and people think that they just need, a gyroscope para makapag VR, and that's absolutely completely wrong. And there's a lot of questions like like exactly kung ano ba magandang headset, and this is definitely the one that I recommend. I have a lot of headsets, by the way. Actually, namigay ako ng headset dun sa sa private chat before. I forgot kung kanino kong pinadala, but I have one of these. This is one of my older headsets, VR headset. This is one that I do not recommend. This one I do not like. This one, the Chinese one. Ito siguro yung binili mo na hindi kasya yung ZenFone mo. Right? This is the one where... What's up, Lawrence De Leon? Welcome to the show. Well, hope you like the stream enough to stick around. Wait lang. Sabihin nyo nga sa akin kung malakas yung volume ng music. Actually, I can't tell kasi I can't watch my own stream right now. It will echo to you guys. Zenbo, what's up, Lucky Poo? So this is the one that I used to have, mga 1,000 pesos ito. This was back in back in a long time ago, 2015 pa lang. 2015 pa lang ata to. I thought it was gonna be a good headset for VR. Kasi supposedly, quote-unquote, kasya daw sa kanya up to 6-inch VR devices. But I never got, it never got good enough VR for me. The lenses were good. Yung clip yung phone clip niya was terrible. And so, on the ZenFone 2, mahirap saran yung pintuan niya. It's really hard, tapos nalalaglag yung ZenFone ko. It was promising, tapos wala siyang magnetic interface. Although, eto, makita nyo, kinabitan ko siya ng magnets for the VR magnet interface. Which is, the problem with VR is, thankfully Google is trying to fix that with the Google, what do you call that? Google Daydream. Grabe. Si Aaron Ocampo ni research talaga yung motorboating. I have that black VR headset. One time, nasugatan ako nung ni-remove ko. Wow, aray, ang sakit yan. ZenFone Max is definitely not for VR. Any ZenFone Laser or Snapdragon 410 processor phone is not good enough for VR. Not even just because kulang siya ng processing performance. The Snapdragon 410 should be able to render basic 3D, but the problem with the 410 and the laser and the a lot of the ZenFone laser series in general is the gyro sensor is very, very slow. It's not a very good gyro sensor, and yun yung point ko last week, which is unfortunately puro mura yung inabot last week, and medyo bad trip ako last week eh. Hindi naman medyo bad trip, but I just hate people being misinformed about VR, and they think that, ito nga ako titingin. I'm gonna move my window here para diretso ako sa camera. Para! This is so weird pag nakatingin ako diretso. What do you call this? There's a lot of people who don't know what they really need about VR. And it's really annoying for me because people think, certain requirements are just easily met. Like just having a gyroscope is good enough for VR. No, just having a decent, quote-unquote, decent 3D performance is good enough for VR. Heck, there are people who think yung VR that with a 720p display is good enough. No, VR on a 720p display will probably make your eyes hurt. Will probably give you headaches. Because the problem is, your mind will be fighting with your eyes. When it comes to your mind will constantly try to tell you that this is wrong. What you're seeing is wrong. There's something wrong with what you're seeing, and there is a problem currently with the viewpoint that we are getting, sasabihin ng brain mo sa mata mo. And then yung mata mo, ang gagawin niya, may problem sa nakikita. So what we'll do is refocus yung mata mo. refocused my eyes all over. So this is what happens when you're on VR, when you have a bad display. When you have a bad display, your brain will tell your eyes that there is something wrong with what you're seeing, and your eyes will try to fix what you're seeing because your mind is telling your eyes na nagkakamali ka. This is why, your eyes will focus on certain things because your mind will tell you, focus on this. And that's a problem with the 720p display on VR. That's because it's so pixelated when it comes to your eye, when pag dumating na sa mata mo. You can definitely VR quote-unquote on 720p, but it reaches the point where it's absolutely non-recommendable, period. And there's this phone from this Coca company that just came out with a 6-inch 720p display that comes with a free VR headset, which is makes it even worse because it makes you're slapping a 6-inch 720p on your face. Second time watching BTS. Welcome back second time, Mac. Ano ba yung Snapdragon processors na pangit? There's no essentially pangit na Snapdragon processors, but there are just ones that are not good. Gaming or VR, basically. Exactly, tama si Bench, mag-Moto X 2014 ka. Is it all over between Asus ZenFones and Intel processors? Yes, it's all over between those. Intel has essentially, literally, they just said they will not make mobile processors anymore. They're not gonna make phone processors anymore. So, Asus is thinking we can't be using the same old 2015 Intel processors kasi hindi na nga gagawa sa eh. Intel is not gonna make any more. So they can't say, oh, we'll just use the old 2015 processor. So they have to use Snapdragon. When is the Asus ZenFone 3 Deluxe be on sale? That's a very good question. Our information tells us that the ZenFone 3, the regular one, will be announced August, but I don't know if that's when the availability will be. But it has to be very, very soon because the year is about to end, and they're way past. Asus is way past the required time for them to put out the ZenFone 2. I believe the ZenFone 2 is already out by this. ang ZenFone 2 I believe came out last year, June 16 or something like that, around second week of June. And if they take much longer than June 16, if they take later this year pa, that's gonna sting against their distribution, whatever. May PS4 dito ko, ayaw mag-connect, lumalabas access. Wala akong magagawa dyan, dude. Anong ginawa nyo? Thanks, Sir Alex, for the info regarding VR. You are welcome. Cloudphone Intel sadness. Uy, ano yung Snapdragon processor na bad for gaming? Well, it depends on what kind of gaming you're talking about, right? It depends on the kind of gaming you're talking about, right? So if we're talking about high definition demanding games, okay? We're talking high definition demanding games. The only Snapdragon that you should consider, or at least is the 32-bit. Here's what we'll do now. Let's do this kind of Di pa naka-open yung Evernote. Let's open Evernote. There you go. Alright, got it. Here we go. So, Snapdragon processors bad for gaming. Okay. Ito na lang, okay? Based on ano ba? gaming performance level. Okay? Yun na lang. Okay? Bad. Okay. Ba? Bad. Decent. God damn it. Decent. Good. Amazing. Yan. Alright. So, here's the here's the ranking for gaming performance level, okay? So, the Snapdragon processor's gaming performance level on the bad is Snapdragon 200, Snapdragon 400, Snapdragon 210, 410. Wait, it's 200, 210, 410, 400, 410, right? Those are, ito yung pinaka-common Snapdragon processors. I'm not gonna mention all of the other variants. There's a lot of variants out there. Ito na lang. The Snapdragon 210 and 200 is absolutely terrible. Snap 200, 210. Okay? Make it. Oh my god. Ano nangyari? What? Ano nangyari? There we go. Oh, what the? Ano natin to? Ugh. Yeah. Okay.
And his name is John.
Thanks for the subscribe, Don Ida. It's a little bit loud. Okay. Okay. So Snapdragon performance level, gaming, absolutely terrible. Snapdragon 200, Snapdragon 210. Bad, Snapdragon 400 and 410, okay? Decent. That will be the Snapdragon. Oh my god, anong pinindot ko? Fail. Snapdragon. This would be the 615. I would even put the Snapdragon 615 na lang. Let's put that's the decent one, okay? There you go. Good. Amazing. Okay. There we go. On the good side, we have the Snapdragon 600. Keep in mind the Snapdragon 600 is better than the 615. Why? Because it's a 32-bit non-thermal throttling processor. Okay? Ito yan So, the Snapdragon 200 and 210, I believe, is both 32-bit. The Snapdragon 410 is 64-bit. It doesn't matter. Itong level na to, walang problema kung 32 or 64-bit. The Snapdragon 615 is octa-core, 64-bit, terrible thermal throttle. That's why hindi siya magaling sa gaming. Okay, the Snapdragon 615 has terrible thermal throttling. Now, ang question mark dito, ilalagay ko yung question mark dito, unknown. Okay? As of yet. Okay? Ang unknown processors lalagay natin dito mamaya. Okay? Hindi pa natin alam yung performance level niya. So, ang amazing dito is Snapdragon 600 is good. Snapdragon 808. This is a 64-bit hexa-core. Yan. I would even, God, may magagalit sa akin dito but I'll put in Snapdragon 810, 64-bit, octa-core with Lotlane. Okay? Ito yung mga amazing So, the Snapdragon, this is controversial kasi there's a lot of people who will say otherwise. But I will say, okay, let's also add the Snapdragon 800, 32-bit, quad-core, no throttle. Yeah, we'll talk about the 616 in just a bit, okay? Amazing. Snapdragon 801, 805, okay? 32-bit, non-throttling. Beast. And of course, Snapdragon 820. Very powerful dual plus dual for 2016 64-bit. That's the Snapdragon processors na ano. Ang mga unknown as of yet is the Snapdragon 615, Snapdragon 625, Snapdragon 652. Yan yung mga hindi pa masyadong alam. But I'm gonna say the 616, I'm sorry, 616. I'm gonna say the 616 is about decent. Still, lots of throttling. 625, ang assumption ko dito, babagsak siya dito sa good. Most likely good. Slightly above 616. And so 652 is high good. Or, yeah. There we go. Snapdragon 800, 600, 800, and 801 is one of the... They're absolutely some of the best. Yes, the 801 is an evolution of the 800, and the 805 is also an evolution of the 800. So, yan yung rankings natin. Here's the bar. I'll add a bar here. Hindi, binura niya yung... I want an actual bar. See, see... Kita. There you go. VR line. Okay? Anything below the VR line or above the VR line. What's up, Icy Hot USA? Joa Casares, no, you're not late. Anything that is lower performance on the VR line is absolutely unrecommendable for VR. Which means the Snapdragon 200, Snap 410, and 400 is not recommended for VR. Anything below the VR line here is okay, but I would not recommend VR on the Snapdragon 615. It's too slow. Ito explanation ko sa VR. Ang VR, virtual reality, most in 3D, most VR games are 3D, okay? Are very demanding games that require minimum of 2 times power to run versus regular non-VR games. Virtual reality are very demanding games that require minimum of 2 times power to run versus regular non-VR games. That's why the Snapdragon 400 and 410 can run regular 3D games, like even NBA can be run on Snapdragon 410. But if you assume that the same game that, for example, NBA in VR
you need 2 times the power to run the same game in VR because it requires two rendering processes. So even simpler games in VR requires 2 times more power and much more power than your regular game. You always assume that. So like I said, if on the Snapdragon 615, most non-VR games already chug, and they do, or hindi naman chug, but drop frames even more with VR, which you'll drop 2 times more frames in VR. So yun yung ano dyan. That's the reason why I do not recommend. Ito na lang. We'll add another line here. Oh my god, my font size is nagwawala. Oh, come on. Another line here. Good. Better VR. Right? Sorry, medyo numihirap yung ano natin. Good VR. My god. I'm sorry, medyo mahirap basahin yung ating information. Okay? And then better VR here. Okay? So when you want good VR, you have to have at least a Snapdragon 615. Let's most likely we'll also have the Snapdragon. Oh my god, the font. 6 actually in this area. Yeah. Okay, so if you want good VR, you can go with the Snapdragon 615 or 616. But if you want better VR or more enjoyable, definitely, okay, you need a Snapdragon 600, 808, 810, or 800. And if you want even better VR, this is even better right here. Hindi ko nalalagyan. This is even better VR sa Amazing line, right? So let's fix that spacing. Even better VR if you have Snapdragon 801 or 805 or a Snapdragon 820. This is the line that you need to cross before you should be able to play VR on a good, comfortable level. Now, this doesn't take into account that your phone hindi ko alam kung bakit ganito yung Evernote. Maybe I should switch to a different note-taking app. Take note. Your phone may have a good processor, but if it has bad gyroscope, then VR is also not good. Recommended. Not good. Will not be perform good. Okay? Your phone may only have a 720p display, and that is also not recommended. There you go. These are some of the things that will make your VR. This will certify that your VR is good. Now, bukod dyan, meron pang certain things that you need to figure out, like does the phone have controller support? Bluetooth controllers, Bluetooth, USB OTG, right? Ganyan. There are other things like and then extremely minor if it's IPS or AMOLED. There you go. Those are the things that you need to take into consideration if you're gonna do VR.
Nalabas talaga Dragon sa Snapdragon 69. Sa MediaTek, ano maganda? Gawa ka chart. Okay. We'll try. Na natin. Subukan akong tandaan lahat ng mga MediaTek. But let me just read the comments and then we'll start talking about MediaTek processors if you want. Ay, Kuya Alex, usapang ZenFone na naman. Request ng BG Music. I don't know if I can find that. Star Wars Imperial March or... Hindi ano yung copyright yan. I don't know if I can play those. Snapdragon 400, it can run Asphalt 8 smoothly at high settings, but I don't think it will run VR at smooth. Sir Alex, pa-save ng notes mo here or post ba sa page? Pwede. I'll post it later. Lucia Vito, yes, naka full HD tayo. Exynos or Snapdragon? Okay, so... Medyo mahirap marami kasing processors, but Exynos, I can talk about Exynos in general. I forgot the model numbers kasi. All this talk about VR made me dig out my original Google Cardboard. Feels like the lens should be closer to my eyes. Maybe it's time for an upgrade. You should check out the one that I'm recommending. Gadget. This is from Big Arrow Online. The VR Box 2. This one is absolutely, in my opinion, one of the best VR headsets that I've seen. For about 1,500. I don't know if it gets cheap. I think 1,200 for the actual headset itself, and then 1,500 if you're going to buy it with a controller, the Bluetooth controller. Maybe a short discussion on equivalent MediaTek processor. Okay. The thing, medyo mas mahirap pag-usapan si MediaTek. This is... Thanks, Kyle. That's because of your LTE, dude. Alright, here's a... So this is the Snapdragon performance level, okay? Title naman. Okay. Gaming and VR, okay? We'll come back to that. We can post that later. We'll start a new note. Okay? This is the MediaTek performance level. Hindi ko sasabihin dito sa stream kung ano yung internet ko para walang kinikilingan. MediaTek performance level, gaming and VR. Okay. There. This is more... MediaTek phones are more straightforward, okay? Gaming and VR. Okay. And in fact, masyadong maikli yung listahan. Kasi, okay. How did we rank this thing? Absolutely terrible. Terrible na lang. Terrible. Bad. Decent. Good. Amazing. Okay. Amazing. Amazing. Okay. Requires muna ng music. Wag mo masyadong I don't know if I could do a lot of music requests. So
let's let me try and recall most of the processors that we need to recall. Okay, I don't remember all of them kasi. So, oh god, the font is so bad. So we have. Okay. 65. We can start with the 6582 quad for 1.3 gigahertz, right? That's the MyPhone Rio. Yan. What else? 65 90 92 ba yun? Is that the octa-core? 32-bit? Yan, 6592. Tama ba? Ano pa ba? Alright. This is gonna be, So we can also go with the 6752 octa 1.7 gigahertz. I believe may 1.4 din ito, but let's talk about 1.7. 6753 octa 1.3 gigahertz, and then yung 6755 octa 1.3 gigahertz Helio P10, and then yung 6. I don't know yung designation ng let's Google the designation ng the X20. A nice website. Anong official name ng Helio X20? Let's just call it Helio X20. What's the speed? 2 gigahertz? Tama ba? .3 ang maximum. Computex A70. 2.3, 2.0, 1. 591, di ko matandaan eh. Too many numbers, exactly, too many numbers. Okay. So here's the what's up, Romar? Let's simplify it, okay? Let's simplify most of the things here. So terrible MediaTek for gaming, anything dual core MediaTek, and older, right? Older than 6582 M. Okay. Bad. Let's do bad as 6582M processor. 0.3 gigahertz. 1.3, 1.2. And then at decent, we have the 6582 quad core. Non-M, right? Okay. Here's the good. And ito yung hindi pa unknown. So ito, meron pala si Aaron. 6797 Helio X20 and then 67970 Helio. Okay. We have 6797 Helio X20, 6797 T Helio X25. 795 is Helio X10.
Okay. So you can take note here. You want to do a side by side if you want. Hihilo na daw si Bench. All right. If you wanna just have a general idea, okay? Turn on the cam. MediaTek still cannot compete with Qualcomm when it comes to GPU performance. Yes, exactly. So, as you can see, terrible is anything dual-core MediaTek and older than 6582M. Actually, medyo mas kasing pantay ni 200 and 210 si 6582M. But anyway, bad. Yeah, actually. Yan natin. Baguhin natin ng konti ito. This is gaming performance after all. So hindi pwede. Hindi pwede nating isama si dual core. That's all right. So gaming performance is that. Yeah, terrible gaming performance is the old 6582M. Decent gaming performance, bad gaming performance is the yeah. Kasi magkapantay si Snapdragon 410 and 400 with the 6582 quad-core 1.3 GHz in my opinion. So, ang gagawin natin dito, we'll just drop the one of these, the decent, that, yeah, that sounds about more right, okay? Ito so if you want to see which is the terrible gaming performance, nagsisimula tayo sa 6582M 1.3 GHz. Keep in mind, you can still play games on the 6582M. Much like you can still play games on the Snapdragon 200 and 210. But it's quote-unquote terrible, right? Next we have the next level bad, the Snapdragon 400 and 410. Ang sumasabay dito sa performance ng Snapdragon 400 and 410 is the same as the 6582 quad-core ng MediaTek. But keep in mind that even though performance-wise pareho sila, the Snapdragon processors still have better radios. I mean, it's very hard to explain, but at least when it comes to components like gyroscopes and stuff like that, and GPS sensors and stuff like that, mas maganda yung Snapdragon side. But in terms of gaming performance only, pantay sila, right? Let's move on to the decent gaming. Here we go. Yeah. So this is the 32-bit 658. Decent. 592. 32-bit. There we go. Let's remove the 1.4. Let's only go with the 1.7 because 1.4 is a little too slow for me. I would put it in the bad level, but it's not that bad. So, decent level gaming, Snapdragon 615. I would even consider this is better than Snapdragon 615 in my opinion. This is the 32-bit 6592 octa-core 1.7 GHz.
it's better than the Snapdragon 615 in terms of gaming performance because the 615 throttles really, really hard. I don't like that. The throttling is really bad. So if you're going to just game, you can probably buy a 6592, but I would not recommend it. Anything above anything here, any okay. Here's the important thing about the Snapdragon, the MediaTek processors. Any MediaTek non-64-bit octa, non-64-bit is no and older than 2015 is not recommended because of inferior radio, GPS, radio, gyro, etc. Just keep that in mind. Keep this in mind all the time, okay? Any MediaTek that is not 64-bit and older than 2015, it's not recommended because of inferior GPS, radio sensors, gyroscope, etc. They were using, less inferior parts. They can play games. Fine. Okay? They can play games fine, but when you need gyro, GPS, or LTE Wi-Fi reliably, they suck. Okay? So I would not recommend buying anything that is not 64-bit MediaTek. Nung nag-64-bit na yung MediaTek, that's when they started improving their antennas, their GPS, their gyroscopes. But that's not always the case. Okay? When it comes to gyro, it is also highly manufacturer dependent. Not all phones are created equal. Yun lang. What's up, MJ Loren? So, medyo maraming asterisk sa MediaTek eh. That's the thing eh. Maraming asterisk sa MediaTek because the quality control is not as good as Snapdragon. The Snapdragon, even a decent MediaTek Snapdragon 410, just a phone with a decent Snapdragon 410 can do good VR if the gyroscopes are good. If it was tuned really well, then the Snapdragon 410 can do VR. Performance-wise, it's not gonna be good, but the gyroscopes could be good. But ang pinaka-recommended ko minimum is the Snapdragon 615. Gyroscopes are good. The performance is so-so. Okay lang. But at least the minimum is the 615. So sa MediaTek, you can do VR even with the 6592, but I would not recommend it because yun yung panahon na pangit yung gyroscopes and a lot of sensors ng MediaTek. But when it comes to here, pagdating na sa good, okay? Here's the good. When we start with the Snapdragon the MediaTek 6752, 6753, 6755, this is the good performance. And andito siya. Talo pa rin siya dito, but whatever. Yung mga Antutu. Yeah, I guess they're good. Yeah, all of them are good. So, ako lang ang sasabihin ko lang dito even though I'm giving these phones the same level of performance in terms of gaming and VR, iba pa rin yung Snapdragon. Iba pa rin yung Snapdragon. Even though they're in the same level, the Snapdragon still, in daily tasks na lang, in daily tasks, better still. Wala. Yun ang sasabihin ko. The Snapdragon processors, they're equal in performance in gaming and VR, but in daily tasks, the Snapdragon is better still. Yun yung makukuha mo dyan eh. It's just better in terms of multitasking and better whatever. But if you're just looking for gaming performance, pareho sila ng 675, 2675, 3675. Ano to? 2 GHz ba to? Yeah, 2 GHz yung E10. There's a 1.8 GHz version. Or 1. Mababa yung performance ng 1.8, but it's not bad. Okay? Whew. Hindi pa tapos yung P9. So, the thing is here, wala pa tayong nalalaman kung ano yung amazing performance ng MediaTek. It's very possible that any of these is amazing, or it's very possible that all these would be just good. So it's possible na nandito siya, or it's possible na nandito siya. Me personally, I think nandito siya sa good. Me personally, I think nandito siya sa good. Yeah. It's very possible that the Helio, that the X67970, that X25 might be amazing. So yun yung ano dyan. But this is ito question mark pa lang to. So let's add question marks here. Question mark here. Question marks here. Okay? That's what I think. That's what I think the performance is. Right? This is why I always recommend this is why I always recommend the Moto X 2nd Gen, right? So let's create a new one explaining why, reasons why I think for the price Moto X 2nd Gen 2014 is best for VR. Okay, price is 9,000 pesos, 8,999, right? Reason 1, Snapdragon 801, amazing performance. Reason 2, Full HD AMOLED display, right? Reason 3, extremely good gyroscope. Reason 4, well, marshmallow, whatever. Optimized user interface. Yan. Ito yung ano. This is why I keep recommending the Moto X 2nd Gen, especially for people who want to do VR, want to play VR for 9,000 pesos. There's ito tingnan mo to So, who would we compare this to? Who would we compare this to? Okay. Let's make a new one. Who should we compare this to? Let's say Flash plus 2. Okay? Flash plus 2 is what? How much? 6,990 ba? No, 7,990? What kind of Flash plus 2? $6,990. Okay, $6,990. So what we're looking at here is underclocked Helio P10, right? 1.8 gigahertz. You have a IPS 5.5 inch display, low refresh, around 56 hertz. Decent gyroscope, decent UI, right? Na-try ko na ba yung S5 sa VR? Yes, na-try ko na ang S5 sa VR. Okay naman yung S5 sa VR. It actually works pretty good. This is why I keep recommending the 801. In my opinion lang, this would be, all of these reasons make it 2 times better. Right? The AMOLED display makes the VR gaming 2 times better. A extremely good gyroscope makes gaming VR 2 times better. Yung UI hindi masyado, right? Hindi masyadong importante to, but it helps. But the Snapdragon 801 is, in my opinion, 2 times better for VR. Especially since this is an underclocked Helio 1.8 gigahertz. That's a Flash Plus 2. Ano pang gusto nyo i-compare dito? Who else do you think we should compare it to? I think talaga siya I can't find a decent comparison. Snapdragon 801 for 9000 talaga. Snapdragon 801 for 9000 is like unbeatable when it comes to VR performance. Parang I don't know how to stress it enough. It's like one of the best performance for VR you can get. Question, yung Tiga processors ba okay sa VR if ever may lumabas ulit na phone na yun ang kami? Tigra processors, at least the new ones should be good. Okay, so the thing is with Tigra processors, there are no more phones made with Tigra processors because they do not have what do you call this? They are tablet Wi-Fi only processors. Okay, so simple explanation is wala siyang wala siyang internal radio chips for call text SIMs. Right? So the thing with Tigra processors, that means Tigra processors will not be put into any phone for the foreseeable future, right? Unless the manufacturer adds that communication chip. Unless manufacturer adds a com chip externally, outside the CPU, right? The what do you call this? The whatever. Basta CPU na lang tawagin natin. Okay? So here's the reason why you won't see a Tigra phone anytime soon. Because Nvidia is not investing in phones. Nvidia is investing in tablet performance or whatever. That's why you see Nvidia making consoles or making Android tablets or Android consoles and whatnot. They're not making phones. They don't want to make phones with SIMs. So unfortunately, you can't VR on a tablet. can't be unless the tablet is under 6-inch. The SoC. Thank you, Brickster. SoC. Okay. So unless NVIDIA adds a communications chip, communications radio on the SoC, or a manufacturer adds a COM chip outside the SoC on a Tigra, you won't see a phone with a Tigra processor, which is too much trouble. It's better kung bumili ka na ng MediaTek or Snapdragon. But theoretically, if you have a sub 6-inch Tigra K1 tablet or whatever, it will definitely perform great for VR. Yun na lang. Tigra K1 or higher na lang. Right, so that's I know to most of you, yeah, nagka-problema sila sa NVIDIA. I know to most of you, you think that sobrang sirang plaka ako, and I keep telling you about the Moto X 2nd Gen for some reason. And ako, masasabi ko na lang sa Moto X 2nd Gen is it's to see is to believe. Its performance is just leaps and bounds over anything I've seen in this price point. Under 15,000 pesos, this phone just outperforms anything that I've seen, right? Any octa-core, any whatever. And hindi lang yung outperformance, it's about the overall experience and the design and the build quality and the AMOLED display. To be honest, I think at least for VR, everything else equal, the AMOLED display will definitely outshine VR. And this is full HD, some of the best looking AMOLED display. Well, indeed, it's not the best. One of the very, very goodest. This is why this is my #1 top recommended phone for VR. Maybe you're not so much into VR, I would be okay if you're not interested in the Moto X 2nd Gen. But at least for VR under 10,000 pesos, this is literally the phone you need to get. Yung Mi Pad 1 Tigra K1 yun. Yes, it is a Tigra K1. Art Freak, welcome to the show. I don't know if you just tuned in, but thanks for watching. ZenFone na kuya. Okay, so that's the that's how I would give you the that's the that's my overall recommendation or rating or explanation on what VR is and what you need for VR. Ito na lang. So I really want to make I should just make a guide there on VR how to experience ano ba? So let's name this guide. Let's call it a guide. How do we know how to create this guide? Requirements? Hindi, masyado magulo eh. Damn it. Steps in experience. Basta, let's figure it out. I'll figure it out, right? But VR the best way. in the lowest without spending too much. Okay, this thing you can do at home. This is absolutely the thing you can do at home. Determine if your gyroscope is good enough, right? 2. Determine if your processor is good enough, right? Ito madadali ito eh, but ito na lang. This is the easiest way, but this is not the only step. But anyway, I'll elaborate later on. So here's what ito yung pinakasimple. Just install Google Cardboard, right? Sorry, masyadong magulo, but cheapest VR. Pa rin ako maisip. Anyway, install Google Cardboard. Steps in preparing for Google VR. Sorry, magulo, okay? Install Google... Before anything else, install Google Cardboard first. See if Google... You don't need a cardboard headset at all at this point. Okay? So, ang importante lang dito, once you install the Google Cardboard app, you open it. So, sa guide, I'll show exactly what you need to do to determine if your performance and whatever is good enough. Okay? Christian Montes, sandali lang. Install Google Cardboard app first. Alright, so here's I'll demo it for you. Here's my Moto. Ito lang kailangan yung gawin. So here's my Moto X. Lower the brightness from it. Here's my Moto X. Here you go. So, do I have a Google Cardboard? Yes, I do have. You don't need a goggles for this. You don't need a goggles for this test. Go to Cardboard demos. Actually, the initial setup would. I'll do this. Okay. Look at this. We are in the. Let's back out. Balik tayo sa ano. Arctic. So, notice carefully. We are now on the VR demo ng Google Cardboard. Look, determine if your phone, ito, kaka-install ko pa lang nito. I don't know how big the file is, but this is what you'll see when you just installed Cardboard, Google Cardboard. Look how the gyroscope works. Okay, so look how my phone performs right now. See how my phone performs right now. This is one of the simpler VR games out there. I don't know if naka-focus yung webcam. Ganyan dapat yung response ng cardboard mo. So, you don't need a hard headset yet. You don't need a headset yet. All you need to do is install Google Cardboard and see if it responds like this. You don't need a headset, you just need to determine if it's moving. That's your gyroscope test right there. Hindi ko alam kung bakit nahihirapan yung taong figure out, may gyroscope po ba yan? Pwede pang VR. Pag i-install lang kayo ng Google Cardboard, ba't ang dami yung tanong? Right? So, the other thing that you just don't have to do is just press the button and then ano siya? As long as your phone is running this application and you see there's no stuttering and whatnot, it's not stuttering. The performance is good. The resolution is good. The frame rate is good. The gyroscope is working well. Then you are 100% sure that at least number one, your gyroscope is good. Your performance, your processor performance, at least handling the basic 3D VR enough para makapag-VR ka. Yun lang yung kailangan mong gawin. Just install that app and you'll know exactly what you need. If your phone passes the basic VR requirement. Tapos. Alright? That's basically it, but obviously mas marami pang pag-uusapan dyan. Like yung like, you know, if you're beyond this point, is where it gets crazier because we need to discuss VR headsets or cardboard. That's when you need to determine kung ano yung cardboard headset for you. You need to first take these 3 initial steps to determine if your phone is VR capable. And then saka ka mag-isip kung ano yung VR headset na maganda. Right? Yun lang naman eh. Kasi it's annoying when people keep asking ano po ba magandang VR headset or ano po bang ano. Why don't you test or kaya ba ng phone ko mag-VR? Kaya ba ng phone ko mag-VR? This is the question I get asked a lot. So often. This is the question that is the most repeated that I get. Kaya ba ng phone ko mag-VR? Here's the answer right there. That's the easiest solution. And beyond, ako ang pinaka-problema ko eh. Talaga, ito yung pinaka-ayaw ko dyan eh. Yung mga taong What's up, Angie G? So ito, yeah. This is obviously beyond the scope of our usapan. Your phone could definitely do VR, but it doesn't. Inasa sa'yo na yun kung ano yung lalaroin mo. But this is still an important thing to discuss. And pag-uusapan din natin sa guide ko because I'll explain what games you can play and what phones and whatnot you can do with VR so far. But the main question that I get is this one. This one talaga. And I know we've been talking about VR for the longest time today, but it's just, you know, I hope we can definitely put this discussion to rest and sana wala na magtanong na ganito. Kaya ba ng phone ko mag-VR? It's like every single review and then ito yung sagot dyan.
Every single video I post, people ask, kaya ba mag-VR? Tatanungin ko, may lalaruin ka na ba? Wala po. Alright, so yun ang, but this is, I mean, those are legitimate questions. It's just that there's so much very little information out there. And unfortunately, we have to figure out how to get this information to that. Anyway, that is the sort of primer. Primer on VR, that's a good title. The Big Time Show VR Guide. That's it. That's what we'll call it. Okay. Alright. Big Time Show Complete VR Guide for noobers. Cockrockers. That's the title. That's The Big Time Show Complete VR Guide for Cockrockers. Okay? Alright, so hopefully meron kayo natutunan today about VR, and hopefully medyo nagets nyo yung what I'm talking about when talking about VR. Alright. I will read some comments and then we'll start talking about our topics today. I'm using the Shield actually. What kind of Shield? You're using the Shield tablet, or what Shield do you have? Tried Google Cardboard on ZenFone 2 ZE551 ML2GB RAM. Yes, the ZE551 should handle that perfectly fine, no problem. I tried VR on the 4GB version of the ZenFone 2 before. It works perfectly fine. Unfortunately, I had this headset before, and this headset had a bad physical compatibility in terms of size and connection with ZenFone 2 because of its big bezels and kind of thick, so hindi siya bagay dito sa VR headset na to. This one is better suited for the ZenFone 2 size. Okay. What's up, man? All right. Okay. So that said, that concludes our VR topic. We can probably kind of say that we are going to start talking about the program now. So let's start talking about the program now. The topic list. There we go. What is up, guys? Welcome to the show. My name is Alex from MaTechnoClass.com, and you're watching the Big Time Show. It is Saturday, June the 4th. Is there something we can say about June the 4th? June the 4th be with you. June the 4th, and welcome to the Big Time Show. The Big Time Show is usapang gadget stuffs, okay? Usapang VR. So welcome to the show. The topics for today is about the recently announced ZenFone 3s. We got some Computex news and the Huawei P9 series, okay? So as you can see, we have the ZenFone series has 3 new phones. ZenFone 3 regular, the ZenFone 3 Deluxe, the ZenFone 3 Ultra. All of them are Snapdragon processor powered. They're all metal body phones, and they have fingerprint scanners, all of them. Obviously, ang pinaka-importante sa price bracket natin sa Pilipinas would be the original ZenFone 3, the Deluxe, and the Ultra are higher-end models na mas mahal. And personally, I think the Ultra is a little too much for mas mahal yung Deluxe. But I think I'm not a fan of the Ultra. It may be for certain people, but design-wise and the looks and the whatever. Lorenzo Husay, FPJ, what's up? I think the ZenFone 3 Deluxe.
I will hold some reservations about the design sa totoo lang. Some parts of the design, I hope they kind of polish some parts of the design. Kasi from the looks of it, I'm not that... The metal on these phones seem a little... Ano ba? They seem weird. I don't know. I can't describe it. They don't look like Huawei or anything, or Samsung or what. So, let's start talking about these ZenFones, okay? Now, I think the best way to look at and experience these ZenFones is to... let's pause the music. Is to go to their website and actually play these videos for you. Yung kanilang trailers or teasers for these ZenFones. So let's start with the regular ZenFone 3, right? Go full screen on this guy. Full screen, please. Okay. This is the ZenFone 3 standard one. Has a 5.5 inch.
Right off the bat, you'll notice the premium construction of the ZenFone 3. It's made from a precision milled aluminum. Both front and back are both protected by contoured 2.5D Gorilla Glass. The end result is a finish that looks and feels great. The ZenFone 3's profile is incredibly slim. On the right, you'll find power and volume keys, each with the signature Asus spin lines texture. This makes them easy to find without looking. Their front face is mostly the full HD screen, which does a great job of playing video. Smart brightness optimizations ensure you can easily see what's up outside or at night. The fingerprint scanner is a new addition to the ZenFone lineup, which offers security and convenience. With a quick tap, you can unlock your phone, enter passwords, authenticate with banking apps, and lots more. The back of the ZenFone 3 is where you'll find the 16-megapixel camera. It has
Ito yung ano, there's one thing I want to mention about this part of the video, okay? I know this is very prototype, or at least very, very early on. The phones are very, very early on. But I can already see some scratches on the camera bit of this, the camera bump right here. As you can see, may scratches na siya. It seems like kinayod siya. Mukhang pinangkayod ng semento ata itong telepono na to eh. Now, it's very common that these phones, especially since very, very new pa lang sila, it's very common that these phones get quite abused, especially since ginagamit siya for shooting, ginagamit siya for ano. So, yung mga phones na to, ilalapag mo talaga sa semento because usually, yung artistic shots na gusto mo, usually nasa semento and whatnot. So, may kaskas siya. But that's also another worrying thing about the camera bump on the phone itself. But we'll talk about the design in just a bit. How much is the ZenFone 3 Deluxe? It's about $500
a 16-megapixel camera. It has shooting modes for just about any situation. The revamped Pixelmaster 3.0 engine ensures you always get the perfect shot. An innovative new autofocus system leverages infrared lasers, continuous autofocus, and phase detection to deliver the sharpest image possible. Meanwhile, optical and electronic image stabilization remove camera shake. With the ZenFone 3, you'll be able to shoot with unprecedented speed, reliability, and accuracy. There's a lot of good stuff happening under the hood, too. The ZenFone 3 can handle heavy processing, whether it's a ton of email or the latest games. There are a ton of new improvements on the audio side. The new 5-magnet speaker system continues to offer low...
Tama si Brickster. He mentioned that the ZenFone 3 phones are very boxy, and that's essentially what I think about these new phones, especially Ryan T, what's up? Especially on the Ultra. You'll see the Ultra, it's ultimate, very, very boxy.
Frequency sound with little distortion. New to the mix is the NXP Smart Amp. It can automatically crank up the output volume when and if it's needed. That's just the tip of the iceberg. Visit asus.com to learn more about the ZenFone 3.
All right. That's the basic ZenFone 3. All right. So let's talk about the specs of the ZenFone 3. Here is it. Right. So I think the ZenFone 3 is probably the best looking of the bunch. And I'll show you quickly. The ZenFone Deluxe is this one, like there, and the ZenFone Ultra is this one. This one. Okay. In my opinion, so I'll show you the three of them. This is the ZenFone 3. That's the Deluxe. The general shape looks like an S6 without the curved sides. The S6 still has curved sides. That's the P. This is the ZenFone 3, the standard ZenFone 3. And this is the Ultra. Right? Ang baba ng quality ng pictures. So I think the design of the 3, the standard 3, not the Deluxe or the Ultra, is the best of the bunch. The best of the three of them. Particularly because meron siyang 2.5D glass around it. As you can see here, yung glass niya sa front and back, it has a 2.5D. May konting curve, right? Still, it's very, very square. It's very, very boxy in a lot more ways than one. Especially yung kanyang fingerprint scanner sa likod is very boxy. The camera bump on the back is very boxy. Even the, and it seems like it needs a little bit more look or design for me. Here's the slightly angled shot. Parang I just feel like may kulang siyang finishing touches. And they could easily change that before the actual launch of the product. Like, is it just me or parang this Asus logo should be in the middle? Is it just me or this Asus logo should be over here? Should we just go like Photoshop this thing? Just go like... Actually don't know what I'm doing. Layers, and then this one, toolbox. Okay. Wait. I have a better idea. God damn it. Right, never mind. How's that? Does that look better? Does the Asus logo near the middle look better than the Asus logo near the bottom? And then lagyan nila ng mga letterings dito sa baba. Like mga ZenFone 3 or something like that. I don't know. To me, it looks better this way. At least kung nasa gitna yung logo. I have no idea. It just seems empty. It seems empty this way. Anyway, that's just me, okay? Let's go back to not basically failing at Photoshop. So that's what it looks like, and very boxy in design. Yeah, it does look a lot like this Samsung Galaxy S6, kind of, but I think the fingerprint scanner gives it away. And I don't know about the shape of this rectangular shape of the fingerprint scanner. Why couldn't they make this a circle like the Huawei or something? Here's the colors. I don't know. I just want that logo to be in the middle. I want that logo in the middle. It seems empty. And I think that might be my main complaint. Little bit yung design. I'm sure once I see it in person, it's gonna be better. As you can see, the front display is, I believe, 5.5 inch. May bezel pa rin siya na itim. So I would suggest getting a black phone so that the bezels are not more, more visible. But the most important thing about this phone is the specs, obviously. I just don't know about this design yet. Especially the rectangular fingerprint scanner. That's just so weird. Anyway, let's look at the specifications because this is where it gets kind of interesting. All right. So the specifications here, we have a Snapdragon 625. Actually, that's too boring to look at. I'll roll around. So it says right here, we have a Zen Design 2.5D Gorilla Glass. We have a 7.69mm thin bezel. That's not thin at all. We have a 1080p Super IPS Plus display. That's not bad. 5.5 inch, if I'm not mistaken. 500 nits brightness. That's pretty good. We have Pixel Master 3.0. This is one of the most improved parts of the phone, in my opinion. We have a 16 megapixel camera now. Can shoot 4K. That's a first for the ZenFone series. And now it has a tri-tech autofocus, which basically means it has contrast detect, face detect, and laser detect. If I remember correctly, contrast detect, laser detect, and face detect autofocus, which means the best of all of the worlds, possibly. Here's the thing that is probably the biggest thing about these phones. All of them have optical image stabilization 4-axis plus an additional 3-axis electronic stabilization controlled by the gyroscope sensor. The gyroscope sensor helps because it knows how you move the phone and will counteract your hand movement with the gyroscope sensation. I've not seen it, in person yet, so I don't know how effective it is, but at the very least, 4-axis optical image stabilization is very, very good. Now we're talking about axes na X and Y, up and down, left and right. That's one axis, up and down. 2 axis, left and right. Forward, backwards is another axis. That's a Y. And what else? What the axis here? Tilt. Ito siguro. It maybe has tilt axis. So up, down, one axis, left, right, one. The second axis, forward, back is another axis. And maybe tilt. Tilt another axis. There are more axes out there, like this one, yaw or whatever, and then meron pang ganito. Diba? This one. Okay? So, an object in space can move can move up, down, left, right in X and Y, and then Z, and then it can move like this, or like this, right? So 4 axes. I don't know which axes the optical stabilization does, but at least we've got 3 more electronic stabilization. We have to figure out if it's any good. The problem with optical image, the thing with optical image stabilization is not all optical image stabilizations and electronic stabilizations are made equal. Some of them are, weaker than others, right? So there are mostly the phones have pretty weak optical stabilization systems because they're small. Sensors are small. There's not enough movement. The lenses can't move enough to compensate for a lot of movement. But at least they can compensate a little bit. That's why the bigger cameras with bigger lenses have better stabilization systems because they have bigger lenses. But it's just physics, okay? But at the very least, we have optical stabilization, which should help. We still don't know how good the optical stabilization and the electronic stabilization via gyroscope is. But at the very least, this is 100 to 5 million% better than not having optical stabilization and electronic stabilization. And this is one of the phones, at least in this price point. This is priced at $240, $250, which is let's talk to the Motorola. Hey Motodoge, what is $250 in Philippine pesos?
United States dollars equals 11,566 Philippine pesos and 38 centavos.
That's 11,566 pesos, or about, let's call it 12,000 even. 12,000 pesos for a ZenFone 3 with running Android Marshmallow with a Snapdragon 625 with a full HD display, all metal body, fingerprint scanner. Bukod pa dun, you have a 4K shooting 16 megapixel camera, shoots 4K videos with optical image stabilization and electronic stabilization with gyroscope. That in itself is very good for 12,000 pesos. We're talking about the same price as the original ZenFone 2, na plastic na 13 megapixel, na walang fingerprint scanner, na walang ano, which is still pretty much priced the same today. The same price gets you a Snapdragon 625 Full HD display, 4K video recording, 16 megapixel camera with optical image stabilization. That in itself makes it a very good phone. We only need to find out how good these perform. But anyway, so far so good. That's the camera. We have trifocus, we have continuous autofocus, face detection, laser autofocus, and contrast, whatever. Here's the OIS that they're talking about. We have 4-axis OIS, 4 stops OIS stabilization sounds good, but I don't know how much they're proving. Kaso kuya bloatware. I know, man. I know bloatware. That's definitely there. So Alex, based on history, malaki ba ang difference ng quoted price ni Asus at launch dun sa actual sale? No, they usually the prices they come up with are very competitive. Alright, so let's see. Whatever, these are just same as the camera. Snapdragon 625, USB Type-C. Essentially, this doesn't have... Yung Ultra lang ata yung has the fast charging though. We have a fingerprint sensor right there with 5 finger recognition, up to 5 fingers naka-recognize. Supposedly, kahit baliktad yung fingers mo, magre-recognize. We have a new sort of high-fidelity audio DAC, which we don't know how good it is yet, but we'll have to test. But supposedly, at least it has a high-fidelity DAC. And then we have the Zen UI 3.0, the bloatware 3.0. Right? This is the bloatware everybody hates. Unfortunately, it still exists. Let's hope nabawasan na yung bloatware with Android 6.0 Marshmallow. This is running on the 6.0. Let's hope nabawasan na yung bloatware. And there was some evidence, or at least some hints that Asus might be removing some bloatware with the ZenFone 2 series Marshmallow updates, because there was a Marshmallow update for one of the laser series before. Na binawasan ng doubling apps. Binawasan nila yung Google, yung Asus email, Asus calendar, and Asus lots of stupid bloatware from Asus. Na doble lang naman. Like, they have their own gallery, they have their own calendar, they have their own email app, and those aren't needed, and those are annoying. So on some of the Asus ZenFone 2 series that will be updated to Marshmallow, mawawala daw yung double apps. Hopefully, the same philosophy that will remove the double apps on the Marshmallow update on the ZenFone 2 series will also happen on the ZenFone 3 series. That's we're fingers crossed. Okay, so we have, ito yung one of the biggest, the nicest things that I want is the Game Genie feature that they're introducing. Okay? Asus Game Genie is kind of like Samsung also came up with this software where it's like your hub for gaming, and it has a boost functionality, which I will not support. Boost is usually just clean master, just bloating your phone. But the most important thing about Game Genie is it has built-in streaming. So summon the pop-up search window to hunt for tips as you play. Not important, pero I think magbubukas siya ng pop-up browser. Use the booster feature to speed up the action. Usually that's just clean master. Or broadcast your gameplay live via YouTube or Twitch if you think you're good enough.
Hindi ito bago. Essentially, this is not new, not a new technology, but this is one of the at least pre-built, pre-installed into an Asus phone, and that usually means mas maganda yung implementation ng ng recording niya. The question is, does it only let you broadcast live video, or can you record offline? Kasi for a lot of us, we'll not be able to upload and broadcast and stream videos online. Most likely, we'll record it offline and then edit it and upload. Usually, yun yung gagawin natin. So the question is, will it let you record offline, or will it will it only stream? So that's question. Those are the most important questions. A little bit of kind of important question here, at least for experienced YouTubers and whatnot, is will it record the game audio independently over your voice? So yun yung ano dito. This is very hard to explain because you obviously not a lot of you have played around with recording video on your phone. I have. I mean, some of you will have probably tried it, but ang importante kasi on recording gameplay on your phone is the problem with current gameplay recording on your phone is it only records the microphone. And to record the gameplay sounds, the microphone records the gameplay sounds from the speaker. So that means may speaker ka and then tinatapatan mo ng microphone, or at least yung speaker ng phone, maririnig ng microphone. It's not the best way. The best way is recording the audio internally like I do on this PC right now, recording the audio internally on my Spotify player. It's not playing over the speaker and pinipick up ng microphone ko as I talk onto the microphone. The difference is yung audio is much cleaner, more professional if it's recorded from the device itself. And the thing is, Samsung's software, sorry, medyo matabaho itong pinag-explain ko, but this is important for a lot of YouTubers. Samsung software, since the Galaxy S6, can record the audio of the game separately versus the microphone. So may dalawa yung feed niya. May clean audio from the game and then microphone only. So you can play on your headphones na hindi mag-echo yung sound. So you can't do headset. On most phones right now, if you wear a headset and play your games and record the gameplay, hindi ma-record nung recording yung sound ng game because it needs to be played back from the speaker towards the microphone, and it's a bad way to record gameplay. It's the only way so far for most phones, but Samsung, since the S6 have implemented their own version of recording the game audio separately from the clean feed. I hope that Asus implements the same capability on the Game Genie. Otherwise, it's just a basic recorder from your microphone, and it will not be as good as Samsung's capability. Anyway, that's a long story that not a lot of people care about, but it's one thing that has to be explained if it's a good recording software or not. And then that's it. That's all that is to be known about the ZenFone 3. Here's some pictures. We'll look at some pictures and then we'll move on. The specifications real quick is Android 6.0, Snapdragon 625, Full HD 5.5 inch. It comes in 3GB or 4GB RAM variants. Most likely there will be mas mura on 3GB version. It comes in 32GB or 64GB with micro SD, 3000 mAh battery, and up to lahat ng pinag-usapan nating stabilization, 8 megapixel front-facing camera with the 16 megapixel na pinag-usapan natin kanina. And that's about it for the standard ZenFone 3. Some pictures we'll talk about right here. We'll show you right here. Here's one, number two. I think the design is definitely the best of the three. The design is definitely the best of the three ZenFone 3s that wasn't. So, that is the ZenFone 3. Whew! Man, I need some water. Okay, let's talk about the ZenFone 3 Deluxe. The ZenFone 3 Deluxe is pretty much the ZenFone 3 but with better internals and a bigger display and whatnot. So, tama ba? Bigger display nga ba? Anyway, I believe it's a 5.7-inch display. Let me just check. 5.7-inch. Okay. So ang key specs that have changed on the Deluxe is number one, the processor is much more powerful. The memory can go up to 6 gigs. Memory can go up to 6 gigs of RAM. The display is a 5.7-inch Full HD, not Quad HD yet, okay? Wala pang Quad HD. Unfortunately, no ZenFone have still yet to become Quad HD. Unfortunately, I'm so sad, but that's the world we live in. Has a 5.7-inch Full HD AMOLED display. This is the thing that sort of makes it kind of more interesting for me. The Snapdragon 820, the processor is the Snapdragon 820, the most powerful Snapdragon today and one of the most amazingest processors today for gaming, and it's on the ZenFone 3, right? So, the price of the ZenFone 3 is $599 US. Oh wait, $599? Let me just check real quick. My God. Meron ba akong notes na? 499. $499 US on the ZenFone 3 Deluxe. Okay? So let's ask Mr. Motodoge. Hey Motodoge. Tumoblo siya. Hey Motodoge. Hey Motodoge. What is $499 US in Philippine pesos?
$499 United States dollars equals 23,086 Philippine pesos and 48 centavos.
So it's about 23,000 pesos. Let's call it 25,000 pesos even, or 24,000 na lang. Let's go up to 24,000. No, because there's an issue on my 4K phone due to lag. You have a 4K phone? Your Xperia? Hindi na kailangan 2K display, especially for 5.7, 5.5 inch. That's the thing, okay? So, personally, for my own use, I'm fine with even just 720p, right? 720p is fine. Full HD is even better. But it's true that Quad HD and higher displays are not as important for a lot of people, and I think it's too much if you go Quad HD on a lot of phones. And I think paying for Quad HD, if you do not want if you're on a budget, you should not buy a Quad HD phone. Yun na lang. You should not buy a Quad HD phone if you're on a budget. That being said, your competitors are already Quad HD to a certain extent, and if you're competing with them almost at the same price, then you should definitely consider that you should install a Quad HD phone if your competitors have Quad HD at the same price point. We're talking about flagship devices here with flagship prices, and at 23,200 to 24,000 pesos, it's getting close to a certain level where we should be expecting more than just Full HD. I understand it's not needed. I understand that maybe mas mahal siya kung Quad HD siya, but it would have been nice kung Quad HD siya. I mean, I for one naka-experience na ako ng Quad HD. Naka-experience din ako ng 4K. Nasubukan ko ng konti yung Xperia Z5 Premium. There are merits to higher resolution displays. There are definitely 100% merits to them. I don't think we need them, but there are definitely merits to them. So, I'm not gonna say that you don't need Quad HD. Or I'm not gonna say that Quad HD is not a thing or should not be a thing, that when you're selling a flagship phone, it should be Quad HD.
But yun na nga, if you're pricing it to a certain level of price, then you should definitely put in Quad HD because that's where I'll complain. Anyway, that being said, at 24,000 pesos, this is not bad with the full HD display. But hear me out here. Hear me out, okay? Kasi I just want to give you guys my honest opinions, or at least the actual the things you should consider, right? Okay. Here's the here's what I would compare it to. Here's the Nexus 6P from Huawei. Has a 5.7-inch Quad HD display AMOLED. Okay? AMOLED Quad HD 5.7-inch display. Now, I'm not saying this is equal in terms of performance or price or whatnot. This is about 3,000 pesos more. Or actually, official SRP is about 30,000 pesos, so another 3,000 pesos more. But this is getting close to the price of the ZenFone 3 Deluxe. Now, medyo ang masasabi ko, the ZenFone 3 Deluxe has a better processor with a Snapdragon 820. This is using a Snapdragon 810. But still, if I were given a choice, if I had 27,000 pesos, right now, I might still go with the Nexus 6P because I like stock Android. I like the dual front-facing speakers, and I've reviewed the Nexus 6P. I love the camera, despite the fact na wala siyang optical image stabilization. But I'm just giving you the choices here. The other choice I would suggest is the LG G4. This is a Quad HD display phone. This camera is absolutely one of the best cameras you can buy on a smartphone today. And it's no slouch. The processor is Snapdragon 808, kind of meh. It's okay. You can still game on this guy. But look at the price. This is 20,000 pesos. With optical image stabilization, with an amazing 16 megapixel camera, one of the best I've ever seen. Quad HD display, Snapdragon 808. These are the things that you should consider before looking at the ZenFone Deluxe. Okay? This is the LG G4 from a flagship device maker. Right? This has to be, you have to consider that this has a Quad HD display already versus the ZenFone Deluxe with no Quad HD. Anyway, going back to the topic. ZenFone Deluxe has a full HD display, 5.7 inch. So let's talk about this. Alright, so we have now ZenFone Deluxe with a possible 6GB of RAM, Snapdragon 820. It has an invisible antenna design. Maganda yung design niya because you can't see the antenna lines. Supposedly the antenna line is, it's not shown here, but I think it's over there. Right there, 1 pixel antenna line right there. Has chamfered edges and stuff like that. Let's watch the video pala. I know this is I'm taking too long to discuss these products, but I'm really trying to be as we call this, as thorough as possible for you guys. Here's the ZenFone 3 Deluxe video.
At its thinnest, the ZenFone 3 Deluxe is a mere 4.2 millimeters. Meanwhile, the curved rear provides full ergonomic support. The special exterior finish hides antenna lines altogether, creating a truly bold design. Overall, it's easy to appreciate the craftsmanship at play when you feel the smooth finish and strong construction of the ZenFone 3 Deluxe. The front face is dominated by the 5.7-inch 1080p display. It's big and sharp enough to take in a show comfortably while on the go. TV-grade contrast and accurate color representation make for some really beautiful imagery. The ZenFone 3 Deluxe is one of the few phones out there with up to 6 gigabytes of RAM. Combined with the Snapdragon 820 series processor, this phone can handle anything you throw at it. Games run flawlessly, and you can jump between multiple apps without a hitch. The ZenFone 3 series introduces a new fingerprint scanner. It's perfect for unlocking your phone quickly and securely. You can also use it to authenticate with many popular apps. The camera on the ZenFone 3 Deluxe is really something else. It uses an innovative autofocus system that leverages an infrared laser, continuous autofocus, and phase detection. The end result is a crisp, vibrant photo every time. The NXP Smart Amp engine is able to crank up volume as needed without resulting in distortion. The high-res audio processing improves sampling to be 4 times greater than CD quality. There's a lot more to the ZenFone 3 Deluxe. Visit asus.com to find out more.
As usual, the design is another boxy type. So, asan na yun? Alright, here's the ZenFone 3 Deluxe. So we have a Super AMOLED, slim bezel design. The antenna, as you can see, here's the. Look carefully at where I'm pointing the mouse. Here's my mouse. Right, here's the mouse. Look at this is the antenna line right here, next to the front-facing camera. Then over on the bottom, next to the back button, here's another antenna line right here. And next to the multitasking button, the recent apps key, we have another antenna line right there. Yes, you're kind of forgetting. Yes. So you should consider that this phone has a Snapdragon 820 and 6 gigs of RAM for the supposed 24,000 price point. Still, I would wish it had a Snapdragon 820. I wish it was a Quad HD display. Anyway, Snapdragon 820, 2.15 gigahertz, up to 6 gigs of RAM, USB 3.0, USB Type-C 3, Quick Charge 3.0, and the battery is 3000 milliamp hours if I'm not mistaken. And the camera is a 23 megapixel new sensor, better than the ZenFone 3 standard with the 16 megapixels. This is a 23 megapixel sensor with the same optical stabilization and electronic stabilization. And it has the same autofocus systems, laser, contrast, and face detection. Also has the same boxy design that in my opinion is kind of weird. Bezels are kind of big on the bottom in my opinion. Kind of weird then. The high quality audio and the bloatware as well. And the Game Genie as well. That's about it. So main difference niya is a bigger display, Snapdragon 820. Up to 6 gigs of RAM. And Santos, thanks for the subscribe. 6 gigs of RAM, 5.7-inch Super AMOLED display, 23 megapixel camera, and faster charging. And that's about it. It's kind of the same boxy design. I think this is a great phone. It's just I wish it was Quad HD. I mean, I know it's asking for a lot, and I hope the optical stabilization is good pa rin, like I said before. This is a very, in my opinion, this is a very good, very promising flagship phone. Very good, very promising flagship from Asus. Even with the bloatware, this is a very good, very promising flagship phone. Let's just hope all of the promises are kept. Let's just hope the optical stabilization and the camera are good. Let's hope the bloatware is not so bad. Whatever, etc., etc. And let's hope there are no flaws with the design. And it shoots 4K videos. But it's gonna be priced at 24,000 pesos, twice the price the standard ZenFone 3. And that's about it. I don't know kung ano. this might be too premium for a lot of the current ZenFone users, but still very promising. I'm not sure if I'm going to necessarily... If I had 24,000 pesos, I'm not sure if this is my phone of choice, personally. But it's definitely going to be up there as long as the reviews turn out good. Especially since it's got a 6 gigs of RAM and Snapdragon 820. Let's see. It's ZenFone Asus. When is this gonna be available? Possibly August. Possibly starting August or maybe even September. Definitely August is the local launch. So that's the Deluxe. Very expensive. The slightly less expensive but kind of weird is the ZenFone 3 Ultra. Let's watch the Ultra real quickly. And then we'll not watch any more videos. Michael Josiah. I don't know when the C5 will come. This is the ZenFone 3 Ultra. Look closely at the camera instead of the... Look closely at the camera of the ZenFone 3 Ultra. It's on the upper left corner with a little protruding kind of lens, kind of like the iPhone 6, I think. I think it had the protruding lens. But the key factor with the ZenFone 3 Ultra is the display is 6.8 inches. It's a massive display, tablet sized.
There's a level of refined craftsmanship that's immediately apparent when you hold the ZenFone 3 Ultra.
Notice it's extremely boxier than the other two phones. Much boxier. It looks like a... Okay, it looks like the iPhone... No, it looks like an Xperia Z5 Premium had sex with a ZenFone. Right? The Xperia Z5 Premium looks like this kind of, but the ZenFone buttons... It looks like a ZenFone, volume rocker on the back right there. Because it is the ZenFone volume rocker on the back. Because that is not the fingerprint scanner on the back. The fingerprint scanner... Thanks, Michael Josiah. Because the fingerprint scanner on the ZenFone Ultra is on the front. And I'll show you that later. But that is the volume rocker on the back. So, my conclusion with the ZenFone 3 Ultra is that the ZenFone 2... had the 6-inch ZenFone 2 maybe, or whatever, had sex with the Xperia Z5 Premium.
Ultra. Smooth, sandblasted aluminum and slim bezel make for easy grip. The invisible antenna design leaves an impression of unity. The 6.8-inch 1080p display really makes the ZenFone 3 Ultra. The True to Life Plus image processing engine ensures videos playback buttery smooth. A dedicated TV-grade image processor ensures frame rates stay high and consistent, while also providing the utmost in contrast and sharpness control. On the audio side, the ZenFone 3 Ultra supports DTS Headphone X. This translates to high-quality, simulated surround sound that you won't find anywhere else.
Look closely at the design on the back. This is what I'm talking about dun sa design ng ZenFone 3 Standard and the ZenFone 3 Deluxe. Look at the logos. There is an Asus logo in the middle and a ZenFone logo on the bottom. That's not present on any of the other ZenFone 3 variants, except for the ZenFone 3 Ultra, which is weird because I think this logo placement is much better. Anyway, go on with the video.
Anywhere else. Meanwhile, high-res audio increases audio fidelity to 4 times that of standard CD quality. Overall, you can enjoy a proper cinematic experience anywhere you go. By combining phase, laser, and continuous autofocus, the ZenFone 3 Ultra is able to get a quick lock on any subject in any environment. A range of stabilization systems can virtually eliminate motion blur. You can even film full-blown 4K videos. This camera will do a great job of capturing your cherished memories. Under the hood is a Snapdragon 652 processor with 4 gigabytes of RAM and up to 256 gigabytes of storage. This is enough to store all of your tunes, handle the latest games, and jump between apps without a hitch. The new fingerprint scanner can unlock the ZenFone 3 Ultra in a split second.
There's the,
It's also great for...
Look at it carefully. Number one, the fingerprint scanner is a button in the middle, kind of like a Samsung phone. Also, take note, the capacitive buttons are lighting up now on the Ultra. I'm not sure. I don't think the lights on the capacitive buttons on the ZenFone 3 Standard and the ZenFone 3 Deluxe have capacitive buttons that light up. So maybe the only phone that has buttons that light up is the Ultra.
3 Ultra in a split second. It's also great for offering convenient and secure authentication to a number of apps, such as banking and password managers. The ZenFone 3 Ultra is powered by a massive 4,600 milliamp hour battery. This can keep your apps going day in and day out. In fact, you may have power to spare.
Notice how big the phone is on his pocket.
You may have power to spare. You can charge your friend's phone in the same way as the ZenFone Max. The ZenFone 3 Ultra is a great new phone, but there's so much more to it. Visit asus.com to find out more.
Okay. Pretty straightforward in my opinion. This is the ZenFone 3 Ultra. It's a big display, 5.8 inch. I believe it's also IPS, not Super AMOLED. But look at the design, it's slightly different. They have a supposedly dual speaker design here. I think it's just only on the bottom. Anyway, 6.8 inch Full HD. This is where possibly I was hoping for a Quad HD display, but still Full HD. So the pixels per inch is getting kind of weird here. Pretty bad. 6.8 inch Full HD, Gorilla Glass 4. It says 4K TV grade optimization, but it's not 4K TV. It's 1080p, just optimization. Anyway, as you can see, the speakers are on the bottom. There's two speakers now instead of just one on the ZenFone 3 Standard and the ZenFone 3 Deluxe. Supposedly, it has better technologies like BTS headphone 7.1 and stuff like that. It has the same camera as the ZenFone 3 Deluxe, 23 megapixel with optical image stabilization and electronic stabilization. But the camera bump or the camera placement is on the upper left corner of the phone in portrait mode, as you see right there. Nothing, I mean, no complaints there. A lot of phones use that corner for the camera, and I'm not complaining. It's just a different, look for the ZenFone 3 Ultra over the ZenFone 3 Standard and the ZenFone 3 Deluxe. Still shoots 4K videos, still has optical stabilization, still has a Full HD display, but the processor is now a Snapdragon 652, a downgrade over the Deluxe's Snapdragon 820, but an upgrade over the standards Snapdragon 625. It has a 4,600 milliampere battery, the largest battery currently on the ZenFone 3 series. Pretty good kasi, I mean, it's usually anything bigger than 3,000, 4,000 milliamperes is a decent battery for most use. Has that same bloatware for Asus ZenFones, Game Genie as well, and that's about it. Let's look at the gallery here. I think the design is okay. I think the Deluxe is the weirdest design in my opinion. I think this one is, like I said, looks like an Xperia had sex with a ZenFone. It seems like a mix of a Samsung in front, iPhone on the sides, and Xperia and ZenFone on the back. Still not a bad design in my opinion, but it's a little too big, definitely too big for most people. 6.8 inches. Okay, so that's the ZenFone Ultra. It's priced at $279 US, which will do the Moto Doge thing. Hey Moto Doge, what is $479 US in Philippine pesos?
479 United States dollars equals 22,161 Philippine pesos and 17 centavos.
22,161 pesos. Let's call it 22,500. For a 6.8-inch Snapdragon 652, that's a little too much in my considering the Vivo V3 Max has a Snapdragon 652 for about 18 pesos. Then again, it doesn't have the same camera, whatever, blah blah blah. In my opinion, I would go, if I had 22,000 pesos, I would go for the Deluxe. Because it's got a Snapdragon 820 with 6. How many? I believe this has maximum of 4 gigs of RAM. Let's check the specifications. Snapdragon 652, Android 6.0, 3 or 4 gigs of RAM. So there's a 3 gig RAM variant, there's a 4 gig RAM variant. And that's about it. That's the ZenFone 3 Ultra. I think this is going to be a niche product. The most nichiest product. 6.8-inch display is a little too big. And the performance is not, leaps and bounds for the ZenFone Deluxe. ZenFone Deluxe is only 2,000 pesos more with a massive performance boost and stuff like that. I would go with the ZenFone Deluxe. 5.7-inch display is better for phones. Better processor, better memory. Right? The standard ZenFone 3 does not have specifically a fast charging technology. Does have So here's the thing. It uses USB Type-C 2.0, as you can see right there. And it doesn't have any Qualcomm fast charging technology because it has using the Snapdragon 625. I don't know if 625 has fast charging technology. But it should still charge at a very decent clip, at a decent rate, because USB Type-C transfers faster power. Basically the reason. Doesn't have any specific fast charging technologies. Reminds you of those Xperia Z Ultra. Yes, exactly. iPhone 7, ano nang balita? Matagal pa si iPhone 7. September. Although WWDC is gonna be next week. Looks and parang hindi ergonomic yung volume rocker sa likod. Hawakan nung one hand. I think maaabot mo siya, but it's still, you'll have to move your fingers a little bit higher. If I have 21K, mag P9 na lang ako. Which can segue to our next topic, the Huawei P9. Netgear has a Xperia Z Ultra apparently. So those are the 3 ZenFone 3s. I think we'll just skip all of the other products from Asus. Let's just quickly show you what they are. So other Asus products include the Transformer 3, the Transformer 3 Pro, the Transformer 3 Mini. These are interesting kind of Microsoft Surface-like devices. Pretty decent prices actually. The Transformer 3 Pro has a i7. The 3 has a M7. And the 3 Mini, I don't know. Atom X5. Don't buy the L Mini. I mean, it's okay. Atom processors are okay for Windows, but no price for the Mini yet. Okay, I would go with the Transformer 3 Pro if I could. $1,000, $999. Okay, that's the 3 PCs that they were talking about, and then they announced the ZenBook 3, which is a MacBook competitor for $2,000 US. Definitely not in our price range, or if it were in your price range, then good for you. But usually for us, hindi namin masyado pinag-uusapan to, masyado mahal. And lastly, they talked about a new companion robot, the Zenbo. It's kind of like a remote control robot that is smart and can accept can accept commands.
All right, kids. Get over here. Hey, Zembo, let's read The Big Bad Wolf and the Seven Little Sheep.
After the door opened,
See?
the postman turned.
The Zenbo can listen to your commands and actually parse your language and respond, which is kind of good. This is priced at $599. I believe $599. $599. So let's. Hey Motodoge. Hey Motodoge. What is $599 in Philippine pesos?
$599 United States dollars equals 27,713 Philippine pesos and 3 centavos.
So about 28,000 pesos. I'm gonna assume this is gonna be 30,000 pesos in the Philippines because it's a super premium product. The thing is, there's the thing here. A lot of people are comparing the Zenbo to the LG Rolling Bot, right? The LG Rolling Bot is a remote control bot that has a remote control app on your phone. I think this is an entirely different device. Because this is a smart device that does stuff on its own via commands, via spoken commands. So it has a camera on its own, it has a microphone that can listen to what your commands are, it can actually speak, it has its own personality, it has its own personal assistant application. Not like the Rolling Bot ng LG, where it's entirely physically manually controlled by you and your remote control. There is no automated functions on the LG Bot. Thing is, the LG Rolling Bot is not, as there is no official launch date for the Rolling Bot. There's no availability, and there's no price for the Rolling Bot. Essentially, Asus beat LG to the punch with this smart computerized robot for the home. And it looks even more practical than the Rolling Bot, because I've tried the Rolling Bot this LG launch. It was kind of a mess. The problem with the Rolling Bot is they tried to copy BB-8 as much as they could. BB-8 is obviously the Star Wars, yung below it looks like a snowman. The bottom part is the rolling part, and the upper part of the snowman doesn't roll. But the LG Rolling Bot is just like a half sphere and a half sphere and a wheel in the middle, right? The problem with that is it still rolls around like a ball if pushed around. So the problem with the Rolling Bot, in my opinion, is that it's a ball. The problem with the ball is if you give it enough of a movement momentum, right? So I played around with it kasi, so I have this experience. So I don't have a ball. I have a ball. No, I don't have a ball. So the Rolling Bot, if you push forward on the remote control and then the wheel starts spinning, it doesn't have the perfect grip on the surface, especially if you have tiled floors. So the wheel will start spinning on its own, like magsaskwala siya. It will wheel spin like a sports car does when it's spinning its wheels and not moving. So it will start spinning like this, and then it'll catch up a little bit and move forward. And then once the traction starts kicking in, the ball will start turning this way, like this, like a car would. But the problem is it's a ball. So when you stop moving forward, the ball will stop like this, roll a little bit like this, and then come back this way. So it's a little iffy to control. And I think that's what LG is having trouble with, at least because they designed it to be a ball. And that's the problem with the Rolling Bot, that is designed like a ball and it controlled like a ball. It moves and ebbs and flows like a ball would move. Sorry, a little bit shadong technical, but I think that's the problem with the Rolling Bot. Anyway, the Zenbo is completely different. It's not a remote control plaything. It's an actual smart device that has a computer inside it that reacts to you, whatever. Anyway, the
the funniest part lang dito sa video na to is, I don't know if you know, but Zenbo is kind of a pervert. He likes Claire. I like Claire. Look for here we go. All right, so Zenbo here.
Classy.
This is Claire right here, the girl on the white, and
Please,
she turns around.
this
See,
way.
she shows her ass to Zenbo, and then Zenbo is like, "Oh my god, I like. Thank you." Zenbo like. And don't take my picture. All right. So anyway, that's Zenbo. Kind of interesting, and literally, there's now a price, and Asus has just beat LG to the punch with their rolling bot system. Anyway, that's Zenbo. I think it's kind of cool, but maybe a little too. Maybe not for us. Maybe not for people who are struggling to even buy. This is a luxury product for a lot of families. What's up, JRDOA? I don't know what language you're speaking, but welcome to the show. So that's the Zenbo. We'll skip anything. AMD announced one of their graphics cards, the AMD RX 480, going to be a very interesting graphics card and going to be competitive for $200. Basically, that's all I'm going to tell you. There's not a lot of things to say. It's going to be a very powerful graphics card for only $200, so it's very promising. Don't know yet if it's going to be, if it's going to perform a lot, as AMD said. Okay, that's all we need to know. AMD also announced new CPUs. Nothing important here. Kind of same. I mean, it's nice. Okay. So those are the AMD 480 is kind of interesting. Anyway, let's play some music. What did I do? Oh, I closed my. There we go. Sorry. Function. There we go. There's the music. Okay, now, where was I? Sorry, nawala ako. Here we go. No, it's not faster than the GTX 1080. It's faster than the 2 RX 480 is supposedly, according to AMD, faster than the 1080. Not just one. Okay. Anyway. So we talked about the Zenbo, we talked about the AMD RX 480, we talked about the new ZenFone 3s, then the Transformers, and stuff like that. So the next topic we have is basically the Huawei P9s. I don't know if that's interesting for you guys, but let's talk about the Huawei P9 real quick. The Huawei P9, search for it on. Oh. Huawei mode. So I don't know if I'm gonna get copyright infringement if I play these because I've never tried. Let's watch this 1 minute one.
The eye.
Sorry, the music was too
A
loud.
miracle
Sorry.
of evolution. Our window on the world. Two lenses, refined to perfection. A photon of light. A pixel of perfection. Your vision captured in precision detail. Life with focus.
What the? Are you
Life.
kidding me? This video from Huawei Mobile themselves, Huawei Mobile, is only 480p. You're talking about. Still 480p, dude. Wow. My God. This video is 480p. Seriously, guys. Holy crap.
with depth. Life in every moment. Capture each moment, every memory. Introducing the Huawei P9. Change the way you see the world.
All right. Any other reptilians in the stream? Are you leafy? Are you a leafy guy? Is that's the meme, right? So we're talking about the Huawei P9. I think the Huawei P9 is a decent product. So I can't find the website for the Huawei P9. I just have the Oppo Mart for some reason. The Oppo Mart is selling Huawei. that's ironic, right? No, it's Oppo Mart is selling Huawei. Okay, there will be three variants. Three variants of the Huawei P9. There's a P9, the P9 Plus, and the P9 Lite, right? The standard, bog standard one is Huawei P9. In the Philippines, the price is 23,990. 23,990. It's got the number one thing about the P9 series is they have a Leica designed or Leica co-engineered camera. I don't know about the P9 Lite. I'm not sure if that was Leica camera. No, it's not a Leica camera. Anyway, the P9 has a dual lenses. One is the color lens and the color sensor, 12 megapixel, and the other sensor is a black and white sensor. And these combine usually to take pictures that provide you amazing contrast and saturation and whatnot. Kasi, to be honest, color sensor arrays or color cameras, lenses, and sensors can detect decent amounts of blacks and whatnot. But a monochrome sensor is even better at detecting, the minute differences of black. How much in Japan? So let's go by the dollar value. So, hey Motodoge, $600 US in Japanese yen.
$600 United States dollars equal 63,927 Japanese yen.
Let's convert the Philippine price, which is 24,000 pesos. Hey Motodoge, 24,000 Philippine pesos in Japanese yen.
$24,000 Philippine pesos equals 55,269 Japanese yen and 95 cents.
All right, there you go. In my opinion, I think this is a very good price, especially in the Philippines. The price in the Philippines is 24,000 pesos. Now, take note, it's cheaper in the Philippines than in other countries. It's cheaper in the Philippines than in other countries, surprisingly. Huawei has done a great job in lowering the price of the Huawei P9. Now, the Huawei P9, in my opinion, is a nice phone. Let's look at some B-roll that I have na lang. Here we go. So, it's got a metal build. It's got a 5.2-inch display. The standard P9 has a 5.2-inch Full HD display. Not Quad HD, Full HD. The two cameras on the back is obviously the Leica branded or co-engineered cameras, which actually they do pretty good in low light. Napansin ko maganda yung kuha niya. I have not, given it the official Alex review camera thing, but at least so far from what I've tried on the program at the Huawei event itself, the cameras were pretty good. Got a fingerprint sensor on the back, the Huawei branded fingerprint sensor, which is good. It's got the Kirin 955 processor, which I believe got me let's look for the score on Antutu is 83,922, which is very high. Not the highest, but still very high Antutu score. Metal build fingerprint scanner, Huawei design, Leica lenses and stuff like that for 24,000 pesos. Not bad at all. Not bad at all, right? This is priced. This is gonna be available. Actually, I can explain. All right. So officially, it's gonna be available June 15 in most parts of the Philippines. There will be an exclusive promo for this product, and all of it's the P9 Plus sa Mall of Asia this coming June 11. So when is this June 11? Next week Saturday. So next week Saturday there will be a promo at Mall of Asia, Huawei's flagship store. At Huawei's flagship store, they're gonna sell. Well, okay, there's gonna be a promo, kind of. Okay, the first 100 people that go to the Huawei store on June 11 with a old camera, digital or film, as long as it works according to them, as long as it works, you'll get 20% off discount, 20% discount. So here's the promo explanation, right? Very, very low res picture. I'm sorry about that. So I'll tell you about the P9 Plus in just a bit, but at least the P9 and the P9 Plus. The P9 Plus is 29,990. That's a more standard price. The P9 is 23,990. Okay. So here's the promo. As on June 11th, go to the flagship store at Huawei at Mall of Asia. Get 20% off on your purchase of a P9 Plus or a P9 if you come supposedly within the first 100 people that buy them, and you come with an old camera, digital or film, as long as it works. Tanong lang po, Kuya, di ko po alam kung ano ibig sabihin ng Antutu. Antutu is a benchmark. Antutu determines how fast your phone is in most applications. So as you can see, the P9 Plus, if you bring a old camera, you're going to get the price of a P9 Plus for 23,990, the same price as a P9 without the discount. Look at that. Look at that. As long as you bring a old camera, you're going to get a 6,000 peso discount on the P9 Plus, which is not bad. 6,000 peso discount on the P9 Plus. And if you buy a P9 with your old camera, you trade in your old camera, you're getting it for 19,190, which is about almost 4,000 peso discount. Almost 4,000 peso. It's not bad at all. As long as you're okay with the Huawei brand of, EMUI, as long as you're okay with the, Huawei Kirin 955 processor, which is very good. I think this is not a bad deal. The P9 might be, really good at 19,000 pesos. I just don't know if I can spare 19,000 pesos right now, and I don't know if I need a new phone, so I'm not one to be looking into this. But assuming you're, like, for example, a fan of Leica phones, or fan of Leica cameras, a fan of Huawei phones in general, or just looking for a brand spanking new phone that is both it has a fingerprint scanner, metal body, really good design, made by a reputable company, the Huawei P9 might be a good deal. But take note, you have to be the first 100 people. I don't know kung medyo batugan ka, medyo hindi ka maaga magising, might not be able to get the discount even if you bring your old camera. Take note, maybe they'll still give you a discount. Maybe pang ano lang yung 100 people. Sometimes they'll lie about that promo because they just want people to show up as soon as possible. Emilio says, pwede kong bumili ng mumurahin na camera. True. Norm says, kahit DSLR and point and shoot mirrorless, okay na. Ako rin. I still like regular cameras for taking pictures. Anyway, they also have some freebies if you buy it on the 11th. Go watch bag, VIP card, and power bank. Anyway, that's a promo. We don't need to talk about the promo anymore. Let's talk about the P9 Plus. This is the 29,890 pesos phone. Ang difference niya, slightly bigger display at 5.5 inch. The P9 is 5.2 inch. This is 5.5 inch. The cameras are still the same. The battery is bigger at 3,400 milliamp hours. The memory is now 4 gigs of RAM. The Huawei P9 has 3 gigs of RAM. Yeah, there you go. 3 gigs of RAM, if I remember correctly. The SIM on this is dual SIM, LTE, or you can use one SIM for micro SD card. So they are expandable, but that pag in-expand mo yung memory nila, you only have one SIM. Mababawasan na SIM. Is Huawei claiming Leica glass for P9? That's the thing. It's not actually a Leica glass. It's not made in Germany. But it was designed or co-engineered in Germany. In fact, there's a controversy here, or actually very controversial thing here, saying that Leica did not actually design this thing. Gabriel Papalero, thanks for the subscribe. There's a scandal with this thing where people are saying it's not actually designed by Leica, but just approved by Leica. So the design was from some other company. Pinakita lang sa Leica, and then Leica said, "Oh yeah, I think this is good. Approved. Sign." So, you know, whether that changes things for you, changes things for the quality, changes things what, it all depends on the buyer, the person that buys it. But as long as you know that it's not actual Leica glass made in Germany, made and created by Leica, designed by Leica, it's not all that. As long as you take that into consideration, and as long as you just at the very best, at the very least, think that it's, you know, at least approved by Leica to a certain extent, then maybe it does the job enough, be good enough, right? It's not 100% a Leica, you know, device, but as long as it's, you know, there's a tangible quality improvement with a little bit with the monochrome sensor or whatnot, then why not, right? It's not bad. I think it's not bad, but also maybe not compelling enough for me to switch to this kind of phone, especially since if I had this much money, I would definitely consider other phones. Especially if the P9 Plus is 30,000 pesos. This is absolutely the territory of my favorite phone so far, or at least the favorite phone that I like is the Huawei Nexus 6P, obviously. That being said, there are people who will not like the Huawei Nexus 6P because it's big, it's not expandable. You know, I don't know. People hate the Nexus 6P. Well, I don't necessarily like the performance of the Snapdragon 810. But given the choice, I would definitely go with the Nexus 6P 100%. 100%. Nexus 6P for the win. But if you're a photography buff, if you like Leica, Huawei P9 Plus is not a bad thing. Especially if you're gonna get a discount, a big discount, then it's not bad. Alright, so that's the P9 Plus. There's also another version, the P9 Lite. This is no longer Leica branded or Leica engineered, but it's gonna be very affordable. This is 12,490 pesos or 12,500 pesos, which converts to about $300 or kind of, and let's convert that to Japanese yen. Hey Motodoge. 12,500 Philippine pesos to Japanese yen.
$12,500 Philippine pesos equals 28,786 Japanese yen and 43 cents.
So about 29,000 yen. Yeah, that's about it. So the P9 Lite, I'm actually not that familiar with the P9 Lite. Let's go to GSM Arena for the specs. Still has a full HD display if I'm not mistaken. It's using a slightly lower Kirin processor, Kirin 655 if I remember correctly. Right? So here we go. 5.2 inch 1080p display, Android 6.0 Marshmallow, high silicon Kirin 650. This is the same. This is the processor that's made by Huawei. Slightly lower. This is 650. The P9 and the P9 Plus has a 955. Okay. 16 gigs of storage with 2 or 3 gigs of RAM. I believe we're getting the 2 gigs of RAM variant. A 13 megapixel camera, non-Leica branded, and a 8 megapixel front camera and whatnot. 3000 milliamp hour. So this is not a bad phone. I just don't know what the performance of the Kirin 650 is. I've never I tried Antutu on the Kirin 650, so I can't tell you. Don't know. Actually, don't know. Really don't know. Can't tell you what the performance is. So that means I can't tell you if I like the P9 Lite or not. I tried the P9 Plus and the P9. They seem like very perfectly powerful phones. Very powerful enough phones for me. But that said, if I were given the choice, I would go with the Nexus 6P 100%. If given the choice. But I don't have that choice. You make that choice. How does Kirin 955 fare with the top-of-the-line Snapdragon and Exynos? The Kirin 955 is very powerful, but I don't know if it throttles a lot. As you can, I did an Antutu score on the P9 that I was trying on the event, and I got 84,000, 4,000 if I remember, 83,822, 83922. Very powerful, at least in the Antutu score. Haven't tried it on practical applications so far. But from what I understand and from what the reviews tell me about the Kirin 950, and in effect the 955 is slightly more powerful. It's a very powerful processor that can compete with Snapdragon 820. So sabi nila. I would still personally go with more tried and true processors, and personally, even though the Snapdragon 810 on the Nexus 6P slightly lower and thermal throttles very badly, I would still go with the Nexus 6P because I know it's a known product, and it's got a Quad HD display, and it's a very good Nexus device. That being said, another thing that I want to talk about that is medyo nawala sa utak or nawala sa priority ng usapan. Yeah, I believe the Mate 8 has a 955 as well, or the 950. But here's one sort of big news that came from Huawei recently. Not from Computex, but it's related. Huawei also said that they're also making a new Nexus phone this year. Huawei said they're gonna make a new Nexus phone this year, and my instincts tell me, and a lot of people in the industry's instincts tell us, that it's gonna be a Nexus 6P with the Snapdragon 820. If you recall, the Nexus 6P is using Snapdragon 810, which is not bad, but also not good. So a Nexus 6P with the Snapdragon 820 would make that phone unbelievably good. That's all my personal. If you watch my review video, I have a review video of the Nexus 6P, and one of my biggest complaints, biggest complaints, was that wrong one. There we go. My biggest complaint with the Nexus 6P is that the Snapdragon 810, the 810 is not a very good processor at all. I mean, it's good, it's powerful, but not as good as what it could have been without the Hello. Whew, I'm back. Whew, sweat. We're back, and I actually thought we had some major technical difficulties. Whew, thank you, walang technical difficulties. Let's cross fingers. Hopefully nothing happens. I mean, I don't have a backup plan for 1080p streaming if the current internet solution fails. We'll go back to super old school low quality stuff if the current internet solution. Okay, we're back. So we're talking about the Nexus 6P. There might be a Nexus 6P coming that is a Snapdragon 820. That's gonna be amazing. The only reason why I don't want to buy a Nexus 6P right now is because it's still a Snapdragon 810. Still a very, very good phone, and mind you, the Snapdragon 810 with the Nexus 6P right now is a very good phone. And if you watch my review video, you'll see why. I called it the best phablet ever. Best phablet in the world. And if it got the Snapdragon 820, it will be the bestest phablet in the world, and it's still one of the best phones out there ever, period. So it's got the Snapdragon 820. Yes, please. Thank you. Okay. That's the thing that I was gonna talk about. Anyway, I think that's it. I mean, that's the only point I needed to make about the Nexus 6P and the rumors from Huawei. Still, I think you guys should look at the LG G4 if you're looking for a Quad HD device, or at least a 20,000 pesos. Anyway, where was I? Where were we? We were talking about the P9, P9 Plus, and the P9 Lite. Anyway, as I was saying, you have the money for a P9 Plus and you're not gonna get the discount. I highly suggest get the Nexus 6P instead. Highly suggest get the Nexus 6P. But if you like the Leica branding and you're okay with, you know, EMUI, skin, and stuff like that, then the P9 Plus is not bad. Okay? Alright? That's all I will say about that. Close that. I don't need it anymore. Close. What else are we going to talk about? Firefly? Walang bago kay Auri. Just bought a Huawei G8. G8 is fine. There's nothing new with the Auri. They've been talking up the Vision 5X, which is actually just a quad-core phone with wireless charging. The last thing that they talked, the Auri thing was this trailer right here, which is pull up. Still nothing. There is still nothing new with the Auri. Cherry. Alright, well, okay. I don't have... Kokak Mobile announced a deca-core phone for 11,000 whatever. What is somewhere too late? I don't have the specs. I don't want to read from another website. I guess we can go to Pinoy Screencast. Kamusta sales ng Flash Plus 2? See. Hindi siya na out of stock ba? Sold out. Flash Plus 2 is sold out. Next sale on June 8. May reviews na ba? Somebody reviewed it. Here we go. Let's read some reviews on the Flash Plus 2. Amazing, exciting, hehe. Sana ginawang removable na lang yung battery niya. Awesome specs and price. Nice hardware. Looking forward for this amazing phone. Gyro sensor is also supported. Nice for VR box experience. So hindi pa niya nabibili. Kasi Mayo pa to eh. May 25. Ayos to. Gusto ko nakitang makita. Wait, got mine today. Very fast delivery and worth it talaga yung unit. How did you get yours at May 25? Downgraded battery, front camera 8 to both are important specs. Kakakuha ko lang ngayon ng sa akin galing akong future. Wag na kayong magtaka. Masasabi ko lang sa unit na ito kulay silver siya, yun lang. What? None of these have bought the phone. Battery downgrade, an important feature. Why? Actually, wala pa nag-review. Gold version. Waiting for gold core. But nobody is... Ah, oh my god. These are not real reviews. Nakita niyo yung ano? Look at the things I've been viewing on Lazada. Jeez. I shouldn't be looking at these products. The Kingston HyperX Cloud 2. I want a new headset. But I should not be looking at these because you know why? At 4,600 pesos, I should really just be looking at these Sennheiser Momentums. I mean, they're way better in terms of quality. Way better, and I've seen one for just 5,000 pesos. Sennheiser Momentums are super crispy, super crispy. I don't want to buy a gaming headset that doesn't sound as good as a super crispy headset for the same amount of money. Okay, so where were we? Okay, just because Pinay Screen. Let's go to Pinay Screencast. What do you call this? For the purposes of being an impartial person, an impartial reviewer person. Yeah, yung Moto X tumaas ulit yung price eh. It used to be 8,000. I think they're just lowering the price to coincide with sales and stuff. Anyway, this stupid brand that I don't support anymore just announced a new phone, the Kokak Mobile M1. It's got a deca-core processor, the Helio X20. Dual nano SIM, 5.5-inch Full HD, 32 gigs of storage, 4 gigs of RAM, not expandable storage. Apparently, it has NFC, USB Type-C. Yes, that is Randolph Naveen. 21 megapixel rear camera with face detection, autofocus, 4K video apparently, sabi nila. OTG capable, 8 megapixel front camera with flash, fingerprint scanner, and 3,600 mAh. Fast charging for 12,000 pesos, 11,190. Actually, the phone looks. This is without. I'm not. Let's see here. Cherry Mobile M1. That's actually not the. It's not even what the phone looks like. Let's watch. Let's copyright infringe B-Boy. The phone itself kind of looks cheap. To be honest. To be completely honest, the phone looks cheap. I'm not even. This is not me being anti-Cherry Mobile or anything. The phone looks cheap. Looks cheap. Got a full HD display, I believe 5.5 inch. 21 megapixel on the back. It looks cheap as hell. Does that not look cheap at all? Well, anyway. So, time will tell what the MediaTek Helio X20 can do, what the processor can do. We've not tried the Helio X20. I don't think it's gonna change the game. It will be a powerful performer, but I don't think it will be mind-blowing. Kind of, let's go with the picture. Have a picture. Here we go. There we go. It's our background. I don't know if the Helio X20 will change the game. Even though it's a good, I guess it's a good price for all the features involved, right? You know, we have an X20 processor, which is very new. We have a 21 megapixel camera, not optically stabilized. And with Cherry Mobile's reputation, most likely the camera is not good. That's not me being, you know, somebody that doesn't support the brand, because I hate the brand right now. Gusto niyo ba ng ano? Gusto niyo ba ng hindi nagki-clip yung audio? Alright, I'll turn off the noise gate. There. Yan, hindi na mawawala yung audio ko, but marinig niyo yung electric fan sa kwarto. So the Cherry Mobile M1, 12,000 pesos. Kind of cheap looking. Oh. Wait lang, naglalag ako konti. Let's wait for the lag to pass. Okay. It's kind of cheap looking. It's got a fingerprint scanner, 21 megapixels in the back, and I believe 8 megapixel front with the flash. For 12,000 pesos, I'm gonna have to go with the ZenFone 3 standard, standard ZenFone 3, because it's gonna be priced the same. It's got the same 4 gigs of RAM, 32 gigs of storage, I believe. Micro SD, blah blah blah. Here's the comparison, okay? Here's the let's make a new note. So insert table. There you go. So ZenFone 3. Do this. There you go. And this is the alright. We have a Snapdragon. Snapdragon 625. This is a X20 Beta. Right? Keep in mind, not all 10 cores run at the same time. It's a 2 or 4 or 4 config, right? The maximum it can do is either quad, or dual. Quad, or dual. Okay? We have a full H. Got the font. This is a full HD. What do you call this? 2.5D glass. What else? Nothing. Not really. Not much. Full HD. Not sure. Metal body. Fingerprint. Okay. Plastic. This has a 16 megapixel 4-axis OIS plus 3-axis EIS. Lalaki ako na lang yung font mamaya. 21 megapixel PDAF. No OIS. 8 megapixel front. 8 megapixel front with flash. I need more. Can I edit this table? Yeah. Okay. We have a 3000 milliamp hour Type C, 3600 milliamp hour fast charging, whatever, Type C. Okay. What else? Supposedly better audio. Whatever. Marshmallow. Para sila marshmallow. Skin, marshmallow, unknown skin. Something like that. Okay. So there's the differences. I don't necessarily know which one I would prefer, but I definitely would go with the ZenFone 3 optical stabilization. Both of them shoot 4K. RAM. Pareho silang 4 gig RAM. So the key differences here, metal, ZenFone 3 is made of metal. It's got optical stabilization plus gyroscope assisted 3-axis electronic stabilization. It's got supposedly a hi-fi DAC. That's pretty much most of the differences. The what do you call this? The Kodak Mobile has a plastic build, 21 megapixel face detection, no electronic no stabilization, optical stabilization. Bigger battery, 3600, and that's mostly it. That's mostly the differences between the two. My opinion, not biases notwithstanding, I would go to ZenFone 3 because of the optical stabilization and the, I just overall the brand would be much more reliable, especially since bakal siya and mas maganda yung warranty or customer service ng Asus, right? Yeah, build quality pala na. So there's your choices there. I'm not saying the Cherry Mobile is terrible, and even though I'm not supporting the brand, so I still think the ZenFone wins. The only thing that can make the Cherry Mobile win is if the camera was mind-blowing. If the camera was mind-blowing, if the performance is mind-blowing as well. We don't know kasi we don't know. I believe Gorilla Glass 4 is the ZenFone. Oh, even though hindi kompleto yung spec sheets natin, I'm pretty sure it's gonna be Gorilla Glass 4. Never naman naging hindi Gorilla Glass yung mga major ZenFones. The Cherry Mobile, I don't know kung ano yung display protection, if it has any protection. Supposedly, the availability of the Kodak Mobile M1 is late June, end of June. But I don't know. Sa totoo lang, ang maganda pa lang na nilabas sa chair is the Flare S4 series for the time, as well as the Omega HD 2.0. You mean the Omega HD 1.0? The 2.0 had the terrible camera. Yeah, so I think Cherry, despite the fact that their product is revolutionary, or at least kind of game-changing-ish. Oh my god, microphone. Sorry, sandali lang.
I can never ever find the right words, and there's no way this is real life. There's no telling.
Okay, microphone is back. Despite the fact that Cherry Mobile kind of did a good job with their announcement, being one of the first with the Snapdragon, the MediaTek X20. I don't know if local brands has a competitive edge anymore these days. This game has gotten way more competitive, way more crazier than even local brands can do. This competition right now with, think about it. What are we looking at in terms of competition? We have, for the 8,000 peso price range, we have Lenovo in there in the mix, and with amazing affordable phones. We have Elephone competing around the same price points. We have Flash Plus 2 competing around the same price points, under 10,000. Beyond 10,000, or even under 10,000, we have the Motorola Moto X 2nd Gen, which nobody gives a shit about, unfortunately. But I think still kicks a massive ass at 9,000 or 8,000 pesos. So this is also in the mix. Unfortunately, nobody's supporting the phone. Nobody, is buying the phone. Not supporting. Motorola supports the phone. Above 10,000 pesos, think about it. We have the Oppo F1 Plus. We have the Huawei GR5, the one that 11,000 pesos with the Snapdragon 616. We also have Elephone in this price range. We also have Lenovo in this price range. We have Oppo. We have Vivo. We have Vivo in this price range. We have even above 15. This competition, this is no longer local centric. The people that are competing within the price points are no longer local centric, and I don't know if Cherry Mobile's entry into this price point, the 12,000 price point, can beat any of the international brands coming into 12,000 pesos. We're talking about Oppo F1. We're talking about the Huawei GR5. We're talking about ZenFone 3 at 12,000 pesos. All of these phones are international brands made of metal, has an amazing fingerprint sensor, has tried and true tested quality products with amazing customer service. And you're bringing to us a untested, unproven MediaTek X20, 21 megapixel, no optical stabilization, with the cameras that Cherry Mobile is known for, with the customer service that Cherry Mobile is known for. I don't know if that's gonna succeed, especially since a lot of people looking for Cherry Mobile phones only have a budget for about 6,000 per black. I don't know, but that's beyond us right now. That's maybe the Auri will solve all our problems. That being said, I think we're out of topics, and it's 1:37. How long has the show been? Teka lang, let's look at the. 3 hours 25 minutes, according to my live stream dashboard. 3 hours 25 minutes. That's about a good enough time, I guess, for our people ducks, for the show, for the amazing BTS of the 2016's June 4th. So maybe we should wrap it up. Let's get the soundboard up. So yeah, that's all our topics for today. If you have any more comments, questions, suggestions, and other stuff like that, do let me know. There will be more stuffs this coming week. I don't know kung may bagong phones this coming next week, but keep in mind, where's my calendar? Let me just show you a little bit of the calendar that is coming this week. There's gonna be a lot of gaming related news parating because E3 is happening. E3 is happening. First of all, there will be some run up to E3, and then WWDC next week, and then E3 proper. E3 proper. So there's gonna be some very interesting weeks ahead. Looking forward to it. There will be lots of announcements from the gaming related news. I don't know, not necessarily for smartphones, but you know, some of them will be related to smartphones. Christian Season, thank you for the kind words. Alright guys, so I think that's about it for our show. Alex from thetechnoclass.com here, coming to you with the big time show for Saturday, September, June 4th, 2016. Thank you very much for watching the big time show. That's it for me, Alex from thetechnoclass.com. That's been paulit-ulit na ako. That's been the big time show. Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you guys next time des. Next time des. I haven't played with face rig in a while. Next time des. Let's play with face rig. Just one. Tingnan natin kung mapapa-under natin. I don't think under siya because wait, patayin ko yung webcam ko. I have not played with face rig in a long time. Launch. Umaandar na yung launcher ng face rig. That's good. Mapalpak siya dati. Yeah, there you go. Let's calibrate. Let's do a picture-in-picture. Here we go. Konbanwa, please. Mata. What's next week in Japanese? Whatever. Bye.